Rivers of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night. Humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true. Rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty. Ruling the waves, dolphin illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts of 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. Well, I tried giving as much as I could. They locked me up. They published it on paper.
Dolphin, illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin, illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, illuminati. It's that dolphin, illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin, illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, illuminati. It's that dolphin, illuminati.
Energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I really had a big like a llama. I whip the beat out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama,
big
so
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip them thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big, big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step back me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clit, bitch. Hung like a llama. I whip that dick out like Michael Obama.
The project was scrapped after a prototype was run over by a taxi cab. Although, who knows how many surveillance cats are out in the wild right now? How well do you know your cat? You ever wonder if maybe Kennedy wasn't shot at all? Some theories claim that Kennedy had unprecedented access to the FBI, CIA, and Vatican archives, all thanks to him being the first Catholic president of the United States and all. During a moment of deep contemplation on a Friday afternoon in Dallas, Texas, Kennedy reached total enlightenment, causing his pineal gland to explode. But if you ask this skeptic, it wasn't enlightenment that this president was trying to achieve.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Used to think we knew was constantly explore the view of possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mega mistakes, entertaining, calming linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves. Happy Friday, good guys. How are you today?
Thank God that's not an owl mask. I'd be losing my shit right now.
You probably can't hear me now. You probably
I
can't hear me now.
Yeah, you
No,
didn't
we
take
can
that one
hear
out.
you. Actually,
Yeah.
your audio,
Your audio sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it really? Awesome.
Relatively, this is the best we've heard you in a while.
Absolutely.
Surprisingly enough.
This will be the best night.
I like how your anonymous mask is creepier than any anonymous mask I've ever seen.
I know, really.
Who is that?
Mm.
Who's that guy, Fox?
The creepiest one. The madman.
Remember.
He's a
date of
madman.
November.
He's a madman. So, we are all wearing mustaches impromptu tonight, except for Layla's not wearing a mustache. She's wearing the most famous woman version of that mustache, Frida Kahlo's
Frida
unibrow
Kahlo.
today.
Yes, I am. Yes. Hi guys. How you guys
Hi,
doing?
Layla Ann. We missed you.
Yeah, I missed you
you.
guys too, man. I missed y'all. I love y'all. I'm back.
Guess who's back? Back
Back
again.
again. Layla's back. Tell a friend.
So that's a perfect time to make sure you guys like, subscribe, and tell a friend. If you're finding us
Cheers.
right now on the Secret Society of Good Guys channel, Project Chaney channel on YouTube, the Rumble channel, I think we are streaming live on Instagram and on X. So if you do prefer a chat, I think the Project Chaney chat room is the most active. But if you don't care about those fools, then stay where you're at and just click like and subscribe. So thanks for joining us this evening.
I've been for some reason I've been watching a bunch of like biker documentaries, and you're fitting right in. Like right now, Chaney, like you could tell me that you just came off of a freaking Hell's Angels ride, and I'd 100% believe you.
I do feel with the hair in this mustache, I feel like a fagalish version of a mustache. Like I feel like I should be at Stonewall, or I would sing the YMCA. Like I look like a New York gay from the 70s, but a dude.
Yeah. You need a captain hat.
Especially if you had like the violet colored glasses.
Leather man.
Leather, yeah.
Ass chaps.
Yeah.
Gordy's getting
Leather,
excited
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, leather.
Oh, period. Yep, that's the look right there.
That is
This
it.
is this the look, or this feels like where we rape the horses and ride off on the women.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
like the
man.
70s look. The other one was like the
Dude.
motorcycle cop look.
Okay,
What's
this
that
one,
actor who always plays as a rapist? He had that look once.
Clint Eastwood.
Kevin Spacey.
No,
Oh my gosh, I look like Kiefer from Lost Boys.
I think so. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know he doesn't have a mustache like this.
I was thinking
Okay.
like
Who's
Forgot his
in?
name.
the Lovely Bones movie.
I don't know that one.
Doesn't that guy the guy have the
Oh yeah, he has a weird mustache too. It's always that weird mustache.
Yeah.
This is a rapey mustache.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
rapey.
Why do you think Morgan Spurlock went with a rapey mustache?
I don't
I don't
Maybe
know.
because he's a rapist.
Oh, I don't know any. I've never heard any.
I don't know.
74?
I'm just
know. I
putting
used to
it
really
out there.
like Morgan
Maybe.
Spurlock because he did it like he did after Super Size Me was great, and then he did that miniseries called 30 Days. Did you guys ever watch any of those?
No.
It was really good. Like
Mm-mm.
it was like 30 days you had to do something that was totally against your beliefs. Like one guy was he was a border patrol agent and he had to live with like illegal immigrants for 30 days and it totally
Mhm.
changed his fucking mind about it all. And then one episode Morgan Spurlock and his girlfriend for 30 days had to live off of minimum wage. And I was like, it was the most horrible thing to watch. Like fucking middle class people try to do minimum wage. They're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. I have to go to the emergency room." I'm like, "Bitch, you don't know what it's like to be poor. You don't go to the fucking doctor. Are you kidding me?" Like,
I
no.
remember that as I don't know, there was something about like looking at it now with new eyes. There was something very like the whole entire Super Size Me was a commercial for McDonald's. Any way you cut it, he was
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
every day. Today I'm gonna have a
Absolutely.
Big Mac. Tomorrow I'm gonna have a double cheeseburger. Then the next day I'm gonna have the kids' value meal. This time I'm gonna have a McFish. Like the whole thing was just a. And
'Cause he
then
had to order everything off the menu at least once.
I remember that one too of like, I'm living off minimum wage, da 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 da. But their entire thing was just like a really soft, bad managing of money. Like even them writing down the money and the jobs they got. I'm like, dude, do you have no skills?
I
Like you
know.
like even the idea of like, okay, like I don't know. I just something about him just felt like it fed my liberal side of my brain.
I always felt there was like a psyop aspect to that too, because just like you said, it felt more like a commercial. It was like, here's all the different things that you probably haven't tried, and here's me enjoying them. But it was also the thing that ushered out the whole supersize everything, where it was like extra 10 cents, supersize it, because then it was almost like this self-imposed tax where it's like, actually, let me pay more and get less because we don't deserve to have this horrible, disgusting junk food. So let's just pay a little bit more for a little bit less of it and feel good about it because that Morgan Spurlock movie clearly showed that if we don't do this, and it almost feels like McDonald's makes out in two ways. One, they get this hour and a half long commercial, but two, they don't lose any more money on supersizing, but they can still charge the price of supersizing.
I didn't eat fast food for 4 years after that documentary though. So it for me it was not a commercial at all. It was like, "Oh, fuck these people."
But you know what that you probably did do in the 4 years you didn't eat fast food? Try veggie meat.
Oh.
Oh, hell
I
no.
would
No, I didn't
never.
do that either. No. I just
Like
made
I
sure I
would
wasn't buying
never.
cheap ass
Okay.
meat,
you did
know?
something else in the
That's
time.
not
Like they
working.
wanted to usher in that time there. In my opinion, they already accounted for that people were going to turn away from fast food for a period of time. So it might have not been you specifically, but everybody else in America Morningstarred, everybody else in America turned toward Taco Bell, everybody else in America went vegan and then vegetarian
Everybody
and
went
did all
vegan.
this. And it was almost setting up to turn back around and go back to McDonald's and Burger King once they had Beyond Burger, once they had, it was like this whiplash effect they were doing.
I think I was so turned off by all the Morningstar shit by like my hardcore vegan sister-in-law at the time, who's like,
What's the Morningstar
so
shit?
it's all the free meat,
Well,
like
yeah, but like what was turned off? Oh, just the taste of it, you mean?
no, I mean when
Or was
you
it
are
like a
around like
scandal? Was there a
hardcore
Morningstar
vegans who are
scandal?
all like I can't believe that you would actually eat that. That's horrible. Like you're a bad person. And I'm like, stop using your tampons. They fucking animal test on
Well, I
Procter and
actually
Gamble.
think Morningstar Farms
I
was
was
never
the
vegan.
asshole who was doing that.
I think it was just
No, it's
vegetarian.
vegetarian. Yeah, but I mean, but they did have some vegan stuff. And I said, "Why are you eating fake meat?" Like she's like, "Because I still like the way meat tastes." So I was like, "Okay, well."
That always blew my mind, right? Like, why go vegetarian or vegan if it's for like a moral reason,
Yeah.
and still want to eat like fake bacon and fake sausage and fake beef?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
don't you just like
And
vegetables?
there is no way you can make a good fake egg. It's not possible. That shit
Yeah,
is
'cause-
disgusting. That tofu egg shit. Tim Cook, if you ever see this, that tofu chorizo shit that you fed me
Oh,
that
that
morning,
sounds horrible.
that's disgusting.
But he makes a good point, Thomas, though. Like, if you're doing something morally, you shouldn't be even like imitating or going for the imitation because it's morally wrong. It's like representing
You're doing
that
the same.
that thing. It's that
You're
same
mimicking it
thing.
in a spell.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Okay,
like,
why
what?
not this? What about if we have a company and we make all fake meat and we just cut it and put like human arm? This like why do you have to lean into
bicep.
these random animals? Like why couldn't you be like, this is a kangaroo pouch and you could like pull out a little roux and eat it? Like
This
why
is
do
a
you have to
rump
just
roast.
design it in these like traditional ways of like, here's a sausage patty, here's a slice of bacon? Why couldn't we go next level and be like, and this one's shaped like a rat?
Well, okay.
Like why do you have to, like, if you're gonna put the
Yeah.
fake on it, why does
Let's
it
make
have
it
to be
gross.
shaped like killed flesh? Like if it's gonna look like killed flesh,
Calf
just be
fries.
like, yeah, this is a
Let's use
slice
cow
of
balls.
a glute.
Yeah,
Hey,
not oysters. They're not
speaking of
bad.
chorizo, though, like, oh my god, I used to love chorizo, and then one day I looked at the ingredients. Have you ever looked at the ingredients of chorizo?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
It's a
Not
Mexican
one
hot
time.
dog.
Why
That's all
you
it
say
is.
it, I'm plugging my ears. Just
Yep.
kidding.
Like lymph
Seriously.
nodes. Lymph nodes.
Do you think it might be harsher on you if you did Super Size Me, but instead of Super Size Me, you did Chorizo Me, and for every meal for 30
You had
days
to
you
eat-
had to eat
Eat
chorizo?
chorizo.
Ooh, I think I get sick of it after like a week. No?
I could eat a lot of chorizo. In no way.
Me too. It's so good.
No way.
I just have to
I-
not think about what it is.
We worked with
Sure.
collectively. I'll keep everybody a secret here, but I worked at this job once, marketing, and I worked with this other broadie. I want to tell you her real name, but I shouldn't, because her nickname only behind her back was Chorizo. And she was a spicy sausage. Chorizo. And so just
Chorizo.
me and a couple of the other people, if you were like, oh, I have to do this marketing thing. Oh, where are you going to do it at? I don't know. I'm doing it with the chorizo. Anyway, she was a great marketer. Shout out to Chorizo. You don't know who you
Shout
are.
out chorizo.
There was a chick who worked at my ex-husband's Mexican restaurant, and they all called her Chalupa Lips.
Chalupa lips.
You know that's the kind of nickname that she didn't give herself.
Mhm.
No, and it's funny
And
though
it-
too, because chalupa isn't even like a fucking Mexican food term. It's just totally Taco Bell.
But
That's
it's
even worse.
perfectly. You know exactly what her lips look like now. Chalupas.
Yeah.
It works.
I think Taco Bell has earned the right to just spontaneously make up new Mexican terms.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
just-
so.
We make up our own.
They are the
words,
future.
right?
I feel like Taco Bell could make up a Mexican term and it would make its way back into Mexico and be embraced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Do you
it's
think-
cooler now.
That we should do 30 days of Taco Bell?
No.
No,
God,
I do
no.
not want to
Nope.
eat it 3 times a day.
my gastrointestinal system has not worked that hard in a long time.
Yeah, no.
I don't want
Mm-mm.
that.
I couldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
But that is
Too
the
hungry.
future, according to Demolition Man.
Taco
So
Bell?
Correct. Taco Bell wins.
yeah,
But
Well,
here's
yeah.
the real thing: Demolition Man was just a hour and a half Taco Bell commercial.
Mm,
There were even tacos.
Because
it was
Taco
like,
Bell had just come out at the time. Like Taco Bell was like it just made it didn't just come out, but it was like just now nationwide. Before
yeah.
that it was like there was Del Taco in the West Coast and there was
Yeah.
like Taco Viva in the South and there was like everywhere had its own taco places. And then Taco Bell and Demolition Man came out and told you like Taco Bell is going to be the restaurant of the future and run for the border even
have you
before that
seen
little dog.
Have you seen the UK version where apparently Taco Bell did not secure the same licensing rights? So they
oh no,
actually
how did they change it?
superimposed Burger King on like the door, the one, and then when they say it, it's like this really horrible, clearly overdubbed, like, oh, and Burger King, won the fast food wars. And as they leave the door, like you see it say Taco Bell for like a few seconds, and then it changes to like a horribly composited Burger King logo as they close it, and he walks away.
Mm.
But it feels weird because that's like actually changing a huge plot point that like stood out. Because if somebody else from the UK was like, remember when Burger King won the fast food wars and Demolition Man? And you're like, no, that's not right. And then you get over a fight over it. But it's weird because it was like a shared memory that gets changed afterwards because of a licensing arrangement.
Interesting.
Oh, that's a forced Mandela
Huh.
effect.
And does
Right.
that mean Burger King actually won the fast food wars because they outbid Taco Bell even in the future?
And I could be wrong, but I believe PepsiCo owns both those things, including Pizza Hut, including
Yeah.
KFC.
Pepsi, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
they're
they're
all
all 3
PepsiCo.
linked.
It's all under Yum, right?
Because there's
Or it
certain
was.
franchises that have all 3 in it where you can order Pizza Hut, KFC, or what's the other one?
If you had to do a Super Size Me challenge and you had to eat 30 days of a fast food place, what one are you going to do?
Panda Express.
Popeyes.
I could
I say
maybe do
Panda Express
Panda.
'cause you can do the super greens all day.
I could do Panda.
I could do Panda
Ugh.
every day.
I want to eat
I
some fried
could
chicken and
never
biscuits,
Panda.
man.
It's
and red
fast
beans and
food,
rice.
you said.
Yeah,
That's
fast
fast
food.
food Chinese.
If
I'm
So
going
I would get that.
Chick-fil-A. I'm going Chick-fil-A.
That would be the way to go, but
I don't
but
No,
think
I
my
found
Mandela.
out-
I'm from the
Not the breading.
timeline where it used
Popeyes.
to be called Chick-fil-A.
Chica-
I know it's
Chica-
a different
Chica
timeline than
filla.
you guys, but it used to be there used to be an A in the center. It was Chick-fil-A, but
From
I
what
know
I-
it's weird. The Mississippi went backward on my timeline too. It's weird.
I thought that's what Chick-fil-A was, like lab grown meat or whatever, and like the ingredients and stuff is like not real chicken and it,
Nah,
No,
dog.
I think it's the opposite.
Chick-fil-A is good
Yeah.
Christian chicken.
Just like In and Out, a
Keep
good
that-
Christian company.
Keep that shit.
Christians.
Keep that shit. That's
I hope so.
KFC. KFC's that pink meat.
I don't know. I saw something
Chick-fil-A
There
is
was
recently,
good
maybe.
Christian chicken. They don't even open on Sunday. It took them
Yep.
just until last year. They accepted the gays last year.
When,
They
when
were
I
like,
was in,
all
when I
right.
was- when I was at Disney,
Fine.
that whole thing happened where somebody found that Chick-fil-A was donating to like I forgot what the exact controversy was. It became that, if you support Chick-fil-A, then you hate gay people. That was kind of like the original narrative. And we had a lot of gay project managers for whatever reason at Disney when I was there. And I remember them coming in with like these big 40 count nuggets from Chick-fil-A. And it was just like, I don't care how mean they are to gay people. Like, I'm never giving up Chick-fil-A. Like, this shit is too good.
It is good. I'm not gonna lie.
That and Hobby Lobby.
I'll come
That
out
was the
about
other one.
something right now.
There-
I'll come out of the
there-
closet about something right
Uh-oh.
now. So my wife looks like a straight lady if you've ever seen her. And I've unfortunately never really pulled that shit off. So when Chick-fil-A did their things and the gays were all like fucking up in arms and not going to Chick-fil-A, I was like, this is so I just kind of like let it go for a little bit. I talked shit about it, but I lived in Portland at the time, so it was easy to talk shit about Chick-fil-A because there's no Chick-fil-A's in Oregon.
Would you just get
And-
jumped if you walked around Oregon, like downtown Oregon? Just like,
There
awesome.
literally is no Chick-fil-A's in Oregon, so it
It'd
would
be
you
like
wouldn't
if you
even
like
have to-
went out of your way to get it and bring it there.
Probably like no, we sent friends who went to Chick-fil-A and we'd have them come back in town and be like, get us breakfast biscuits. And they'd like get tons of breakfast biscuits and bring it back. But one time we were traveling, we were in the Orlando airport or like Atlanta airport somewhere, Chick-fil-A, and the line was short and we needed breakfast. And I'm like, Bae. And she's like, what? I'm like, go get in line for Chick-fil-A. And she's like, we can't go to Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, we can't go to Chick-fil-A, but you
You
can
can
go
go.
to Chick-fil-A. And she's
Undercover.
like, babe. And we looked over and there was these two lesbians, like obvious lesbians, like sitting in a booth
Oh, they
early
wanted
morning,
it so bad,
just
they
being
couldn't.
grouchy, eating their McDonald's, like just grouchy, just grouchy. And I was like, that doesn't have to be us because we don't both look like me. Go get in line for Chick-fil-A.
Clever. I love it.
Yeah, it was undercover.
It's understandable. It's delicious, especially their fucking fries, whatever you want to call them, potatoes, whatever.
They have the best
chips.
French fries.
Yeah.
And if I were to ever have a restaurant and if I ever did a fish and chips, those are the kind of French fries I'd use. But also, they used to have the best motherfucking chicken salad, and they stopped making it.
Really?
Dude, you
It'll
ain't
come
had
back.
chicken salad
Now-
till Chick-fil-A has chicken salad. Christians
Layla,
are
were you talking about?
sticklers.
Were you talking about the guy who was talking about how he was talking about how Chick-fil-A was so addictive that he did a chemical analysis and like couldn't get them to couldn't get the corporate to release their actual formula, and then when they did, they redacted stuff, and then he found out because he actually had it tested. Was that what you were talking about?
Yeah, I saw this like clip just briefly. I didn't save it or anything. I was like, oh, Chick-fil-A. 20 seconds and I was like, okay, never mind. It's just Chick-fil-A, whatever. You know? So I didn't pay no mind to it, but that's what the gist of the video was about. The ingredients.
What I'd seen was
Harmful,
like a
apparently.
shitload of them were really addictive, which is what he was the case he was trying to make for why his community, his black community, was so lined up for Chick-fil-A, all around the block for Chick-fil-A, but nobody cares about the other ones. And he maintains that it's because it's addictive. It's more addictive.
It tastes fucking good though.
That was the whole point of
Chick-fil-A
SuperSIZED
is just chicken that
the
is
addictions, yeah.
No, they just
It-
use
it
pickle
tastes-
juice, y'all. It's just southern shit. They just use pickle
I do
juice.
love pickle juice,
And
dude.
that's
Pickle
it.
juice
They,
is so good.
Yeah, they brine their chicken temporarily
Oh,
in
yeah.
pickle juice, and they have their skin is specific how they fry. Like
Mm.
Chick-fil-A is next level. But another thing, if there are Chick-fil-A in Portland area now, there were definitely not Chick-fil-A in Portland when I lived there. You don't understand how like I lived like in an apartment complex with people from Georgia. It was like all Georgia and Floridians. And so we would like go on hunts for be like, do you guys want to take a drive to Washington State and see if we can find a Chick-fil-A? Because even everything wasn't all mapped and stuff, you guys. This is like when iPhone 3 was out.
I'm just imagining like a lesbian Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, but it's just like a car full of lesbians are going to a Chick-fil-A somewhere. And they can't be seen.
I was all of the girls were straight, thank goodness. I was the only one that really looked like I like cock block them, no pun intended. I chicken cock block them. They had to they were like, don't tell Chaney we're getting Chick-fil-A. No offense to her gay plight. Sorry about your gay plight. This is that.
Hey, sorry about your
bomb
gay
chicken.
plight. This chicken's just too good.
So what else with Morgan Spurlock? I always thought his name was sad.
Spurlock. My name is Spurlock.
You know, another
When
thing
you
too,
change your name,
that movie came out at an interesting time. I think maybe to take some of the heat off of the Monopoly game that was an absolute scam.
Oh,
They were,
yeah.
like, using it for
that's
investment,
right. They got in
essentially.
trouble for that.
And it got pinned on some bumpkins, and like, oh, you know, we didn't know anything about this. But like conveniently, everyone was more concerned about SuperSIZED Me than the McDonald's game. And I'm pretty sure he was playing the McDonald's Monopoly game at some point in that series, right? That was
think
like
so.
the best game ever. Seriously, even knowing that it was a scam in retrospect, I still would have played it because it was still fun to like think you were going to win $1 million by getting Boardwalk.
Well, I won 35 grand and threw it in the trash. So
That's
from
right. Yeah, sorry to bring that up. From some of that pride
Oh,
fault
sorry.
game.
Sorry to bring that up again.
Wait, 35 grand.
Yeah,
She
this
wasn't on the
this
show.
chain that's in Oklahoma called Taco Mayo. They did this thing where you peeled the little pieces off the cups, and it was you had to spell MAYO, right? And I had the M and the A and the O at my house, but like a single mom of 4, we go eat, we like share one drink, and we peel the sticker, and it's a Y. So we knew we fucking won it. Put it in my purse, forget about it, like go home and everything. Like I'm so excited that we won. The kids are like, you should just buy the other cups because we'll probably get the other letters right now. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And it's like because we have all the other game pieces. And then it fell out of my purse at work, but I didn't think it was that one. I thought it was like just one of the other letters or whatever. And fucking go figure. I remember sweeping it up and putting it in the trash. But then when I went to go check the trash later, I worked at a daycare. There's like dirty diapers, it was so fucking disgusting. There's maggots in it and stuff. So I couldn't do it.
Oh my God.
This is the other thing I was thinking about too after the fact. I cannot believe you worked at a daycare where there were maggots in the trash. Like, clean the trash, people.
Seriously.
The trash was
I
disgusting.
wouldn't even let trash be in my maggots in my outside trash can. Like I'll
Yeah.
use my
It was the
outside trash can.
it was the outside trash can
Okay.
because
Oh,
I
okay,
realized it
fair
like a
enough,
day
fair
later.
enough.
Yeah, so it was like a day later, and I didn't think
Yeah,
it would
it's
be
not
bad.
worth
And
it.
it was so gross. I was like, yeah,
If
I can't
somebody
do
was like,
maggots.
"I'll give you $35,000 to dig in that trash can," you wouldn't have
I
done
would
it.
suck at Fear Factor. Yeah.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, if someone just sat down and was like, "There's a a golden ticket somewhere in this trash can, and if you find it right now, 35 grand is yours." I don't know. You get to wear gloves? Technically, it's under your control, right? So you could wear like a respirator and some gloves, and
Yeah.
Yeah, but smells. I'm like, I'm
You
the
could pay
person
somebody
I gag at
$100 to
shit.
find it.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, that would have been the weirdest proposal. Like, okay, look, you're gonna need to go through
And
this
find a cup.
yeah, this baby shit and maggot infested, warm hot garbage. It would
I'm
just
telling
be
you, I was
awesome.
gagging just looking at it. I couldn't do it.
The person sifting's like, this is a weird fetish. It's got to be some kind of fucking fetish.
Yeah.
You might be able to find someone. Nowadays, you could find someone to be like, who wants to be my dirty little sex pig and dig through the trash?
They pay you. You could have
Yeah.
charged money if you sort of like spun that the right way. Put it on like a
Yeah.
crate back
Who's
page
my
ad.
dirty little sex
Yes.
pig? Who's
I
gonna
need to go back and
find
change
me
that
boardwalk?
timeline, don't I?
Sex pig is
Oh,
so
they'll be-
funny, especially with this mustache. Who's my dirty little sex pig?
Oh,
Sounds so gross.
fuck! Bugs are getting
Will
in my
Piggy.
mask. This is
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, speaking of sex pig.
figure sex thing. Here's my
I totally
time.
got a Squeal Like a Pig image in my head. I hate that movie. Squeal Like a Piggy.
You got a pretty mouth, boy.
Ugh. Yeah, that one.
I do like telling people they have real pretty mouths. I do like randomly telling my friends, like, you got a real pretty mouth.
Or you just go, you got a pretty mouth.
You say it like that.
Say it like I would blame him, you got a pretty mouth.
You like my mustache?
Hey, Layla,
Sweet.
good mouth.
Nice mouth.
That would be funny to take really creepy things from movies and redub them with like, would this have been scary if this was the line? Nice mouth.
Hey, we need to make a meme with that or like a little video with that.
Mm-hmm.
We need the good guys to maybe, I'm going to leave it here because it's just the beginnings, but it would be cool if you guys thought about opening up your October. And there'll be more to come for everybody listening. There'll be more to come for that for you guys to come hang out too. But
I love the fall.
I need the good guys to clear it first.
Like the whole month?
The whole month of October, we're going to hang out with our audience. But only one weekend can they come and hang out with us in person.
Okay.
You got it.
Maybe at the middle of the month would be my preference.
Okay.
So, anyways, just so you guys know, that's the first you're hearing of that sometime in October in Florida, there's going to be a meetup, and Secret Society of Good Guys is going to be there. And so we want you guys to come and hang out too. And that's the first of that.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be so much fun.
Yay.
We're pretty cool in person, y'all. Just saying. Not to toot our own horns, but we are.
You know what I'll say about myself in person? I'm not as cool in person.
Liar.
Yeah, we are.
I met you in person. You're
what
cool
are you
as fuck.
talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not.
I'm like a little anxious in person. Like the most I sit and can do this in life is this time. Other than that, I'm kind of anxious.
I feel you, yeah.
Like I stand up a lot. Like it's hard for me to just like sit and veg and be like, okay, let's do this. Like hang out and smoke and just chill and not move from this chair. I can do that here. I appreciate it. Other than that, I'm anxious a lot.
I feel like I'm less anxious in person just because it feels more natural talking when there's other people in the room as opposed to like if there's something that I'll never be able to get over, like in our reptilian brains. Like our reptilian brains know that like right now I'm in a room with no other real people, like no warm bodies talking into a camera for hours on end, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that it screws with your head. Like you're basically telling yourself you're crazy, and it's like, okay, yeah, I guess we are crazy, aren't we?
I feel like that a lot of the times.
Crazy.
Well, I can tell you, no, we're not.
They
crazy.
think we're crazy. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Isn't there kind of here's
I'm
a
sure
weird
crazy
thing.
is a spectrum too, right?
Don't you think Gnarls Barkley is kind of a weird glitch in the simulation?
Who's that?
Doesn't he sing that song Crazy?
Oh,
it's
Maybe
two people, right?
I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah, but the like big black guy with his little hands. Isn't he also on like American Idol?
Yeah.
And he was in a rap band. Was he in the Gorillas?
No, CeeLo, and he was
CeeLo.
in
He was. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a-
Goody Mob. He was in Goody Mob.
Oh, Goody Mob. Yeah, he's an
Too Short.
No, Too Short is not in Goody Mob.
Oh, okay.
Too Short was West Coast, right?
CeeLo Green. Anyways, that guy is a glitch in the Matrix. He looks so interesting to me. I'm like, huh, it's a
He got
real life
canceled.
human being. What did he do?
Oh, I can't read. He had something to say about women or something. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
He said something that got his ass canceled. There was also like a really interesting clip that he played right around when everyone was having like cell phones explode on the planes and like their vape pens were exploding in their hands. And he had this video where he's in his studio and he's like on his phone and it explodes and he like falls down and it looks like he's knocked out. And for a while, people were like, is CeeLo dead? Did CeeLo die from a cell phone exploding?
Oh, yeah.
And he like after weeks of people speculating, finally there was like this really weird, vague, subtle announcement where he was like, no, it was part of this music video, but like you still didn't see him. It was almost like a Kate Middleton situation where you got the official response, but people were like, I think he's dead. Like I think CeeLo's actually dead now.
Has CeeLo been back since, or is that the last week? Was that when they took out the real CeeLo?
Well, he got canceled at first,
had to
I
have been, right?
think.
I love how I have a computer. We all have a computer in front of us, but I like just the
I'm gonna
random
look
like.
and see though. I can't remember what he did. He said something, and it like he got kicked off a bunch of TV shows and stuff that he was on. I think that's what got him off The Voice or whatever show he was on that was like The Voice.
Yeah, CeeLo unveils. This is just what I remember that I'm like, I'll pull it up so we can be like, y'all. Now, like with new eyes looking back at to old Grammys and shit. What are we doing here? Close this. What is this? I always have forever spin ads. Get out of here. Look at this.
Oh yeah, remember that.
Yeah. That is
He is.
wild.
He looks
Okay, well,
away.
so he tweeted. I can't find the actual tweet, but I'm reading paraphrasing of a "We Are Ultraviolet" petition that got his show The Good Life canceled. And I guess the tweet had something to do with rape isn't rape if the victim is unconscious. I guess he actually
Oh.
tweeted that out on Twitter
He was
in
on
some
some Bill
capacity.
Cosby. He was Spanish flying.
What
And
the
it says
fuck?
3 hours after they launched this petition, the Good Life series was canceled.
Well,
Oh.
that's what you get.
And
That's a quick one.
Wow.
another thing that I'm thinking of that the supersize me is like they brought in all the supersize me, supersize me, supersize me. And then New York's like, we're going to put a limit on how much soda you can get at a time. And it was like, I don't need any government body to tell me how many french fries I can eat.
Yeah.
I don't need them to tell me how many drinks I can carry. Because a lot
That's
of
when
people
they
probably
New
just
York banned trans fats then too, I think.
And New Yorkers definitely never work around the rules or anything. So like everyone would definitely fall in line. It's not like they would find all sorts of creative ways to completely nullify the whole situation and just turn it into a weird because I think that the underlying context is or else what? Like what if I show up with a 64 ounce or whatever, you know, like what if you blatantly violate whatever moral rule they're trying to do? The best way, if you really wanted to do something like that for a government, is just a regular sin tax. Like cigarettes cost, I don't know how much now. And last time my friend told me it was around like $20 a pack or something close to
In
$20
New York,
a pack
yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
That I mean, that one's a hard one to navigate around unless you go, take a truck to Winston-Salem and get them way cheaper without the tax stamps and bring them back.
Yeah, here in Florida, the kind that I smoke are almost like $10. Yeah, like some places
Good
are like
grief.
under 10, some places are 10.
But that would have been the next iteration of syntax would be to apply that to fries. So now instead of limiting your super size, now you got to pay like $15 for those fries.
Did anybody run down who those girls were that sued him? Like, was there much follow up on because wasn't that what started it? Was those two fat girls sued McDonald's? Like,
They
did
said
anybody
that
run that
McDonald's
down?
was responsible for making them obese, but the problem is that the case was closed because they had to prove that it was that eating McDonald's like was actually the cause of their obesity, that it could actually cause obesity. So that's what Morgan Spurlock set out to do. He was like, okay, well, they didn't want to do it, so they lost their lawsuit, but he did it, gained like 57 pounds or something in the process. And
Well, and I don't know how true this is. It seems like this came out before his death recently, but that all of the liver failure stuff and all of the doctor, like, I'm concerned about your health, was just because he was a raging alcoholic and he was just like drinking nonstop alcohol, and really his body was shutting down because of that and not because of the McDonald's aspect.
do we know what kind of cancer he died from? He died at 53, by the way. I don't know if 53 has any
What?
significance. So
Wait, 53
Let's
years
just
old?
get started.
yeah.
And we're not allowed to ask if he had anything else because we'll get taken down.
Oh my God.
Right.
And I wanted to so bad.
That was my first thought. I was like, oh, it says cancer.
There's a lot of that happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just based off the 30 days episode with the minimum wage, I figured that he was probably a person who would have lined up for that, by the way.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
just
you
believe
make
had
it
that
so.
sound like
vibe.
the last thing you're gonna do on minimum wage is like book yourself a doctor's appointment.
Yeah,
It's funny too,
no.
like whenever I watch like the live cop shows or whatever, and there's just like someone gets like the minorest of bumps, and they're like, "You want us to call an ambulance for you?" Like everyone that I know is watching. It's like, do I want to spend $30,000 to
Like,
have like
fuck
a
no, I'll
trip to
drive
the
to the doctor if
hospital?
I
Yeah.
gotta go. Yeah.
Like, unless I'm missing a leg or something, unless I'm like hemorrhaging blood or like, my insides are on my outsides, then no, there's no reason to spend 30 grand for
Cardiac
a car
arrests.
ride.
Yeah.
No,
Won't either.
if my spleen explodes, I'll still drive myself to the hospital.
Right.
Thanks.
True
Thanks.
story.
Yeah, like thanks. That's where I'm like, nah, I don't need any of your the less the better.
That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. Hey, really, this is what I want to tell him. Hey, you know that big machine you got in there? I want to use that machine. What's it gonna cost me?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it. Can I
exactly.
put myself inside that CAT scan machine? Thank you very much. I can move on
Here's
for the
my.
next few years.
I can take my own blood and give it to you, and you can test it.
No, I'll actually tell you this, everybody. In your town, there is a place. You just have to find the days that it does. And you can go and get your blood drawn from and you can look it up now online yourself. You can go and get any of your tests just done. You don't have to go to a doctor to get your tests done. There's a place that just labs, and you just go in and you check off all the labs you want. And then sometimes you can find ones that they'll be like, Wednesday, we do it for like $6 every lab. And so you get
wow.
it, and then you can go online and see what normal levels are of every single one of the tests. Whatever the test is. Tiki 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 with your little same hands that you're like, with 9/11 and inside
As a
job.
bodybuilder, we do blood work every 3 months, and my doctor won't order the test that I need, so I just go to a lab. I just pick what test I want and get it done.
And so if you already know whatever your ailments are, you don't need to go and have this primary care doctor prefer me there, and then I have to have insurance for there, because most of the time you can call these hustlers and say, what's real cash get me though? And they're like, for real cash, you can get in the office for you can get a 10th of what we tell the insurance people. And then they want you in there because that insurance money ain't real. Cash is still king. If you could bring a gold bar, how many doctor's visits for a gold coin? They'd be like, oh, you want some new tits?
There is a huge difference between, like, I had insurance through my employment last year that's not there anymore, right? And like, if I had just like a little, if I tweaked my back or if there was anything going on, I didn't have any qualms about going and just like seeing if there was anything they could help me out with, because there was like a zero copay or like $20. But now without insurance, just to even talk to a general, it's like almost $200 or something. So now it's like there's absolutely no reason to go and spend $200 to just hear some guy's opinion when you can get like a lab, like you guys are talking about, just get a lab done.
Yeah. I think
Like that whole industry seems like it really only works on people's employment or government positions, paying them. Like they've got their own pipeline worked out. They don't even need like outside private people's money. They don't really need citizens' money the same way that they can just operate indefinitely off of insurance.
The only time I would advocate to go is if you don't know what's wrong. Like if you're having major issues and you have no idea, like, because you just knowing what the problem is, like it's easier there's a lot of things you can do at home to treat yourself, but like sometimes you do need to know what it is.
Sometimes you're just like, hey, that big machine you got inside, what will it cost me to take a 5-minute ride in that thing? It's like, once you know that stuff, you're like, okay, like anyone can read the thing. Anyone can look up how to read the thing now. That's why it's not a big deal. Or you probably are like, every person out there is like, I know 2 nurses. You don't need to know doctors. Like, I just feel like doctors are overrated. They need to stop being put on pedestals. They're little referring agents.
Absolutely.
Start asking them what medicine they
Drug
take
dealers.
part in. And if they take part in certain medicines we're not allowed to mention here without getting taken down, you should be like, are they as smart as the university said they are, or are they just regurgitating?
That's
Well, that
exactly
is
what
the
they're
Take
doing.
ours.
That's the whole point. Right? Like
Yeah.
the whole, not to get all like Rockefeller education pharmaceutical system, but it's literally the point of
That's what it
requiring those
is.
degrees is to
Yeah.
know that you know how to toe the line. And if you know, like, you don't have to know anything about your craft. As long as you know what the rules are and what all the answers to the questions are, you're good to go.
Yep. Regurgitation nation.
The whole referral thing, like, just like what? How long ago did I find out I have sleep apnea? I'm still waiting for, like, I had to wait after I got the results. That, like, I had to be referred to a sleep specialist, then freaking wait to do the appointment, and then wait for him to call me back, and then go back to my primary care doctor who had to write a prescription for my CPAP machine, and now I have to wait again. So it's like, this has been how long? It's stupid.
Have any of you
Yeah.
guys seen the latest South Park that's like literally about this exact? So like the latest South Park came out, I think this week, and I think it's called something like Cartman Cures Obesity or something, but it's all about Ozempic and how Ozempic was originally for diabetics, but then they
Yeah.
found out that it like curbed your appetite. So then it now all of a sudden
Right.
people that are on diets are taking up the supply instead of the diabetic. So anyways, this whole thing, but the running gag is that anytime they try to use the legit American medical system, they're always direct. Like you walk in and it's like this big pharmaceutical company and everything's brand new. It looks like the inside of a cruise ship with like elevators, and you're like, oh, I'm here to use my insurance or something, and like, oh, just this way, and they open a door up and it's like a dude with a typewriter and like fax machines and like a room that hasn't been updated since like the 1970s. And every time you have to interact with them, and it's like, oh, fill out this form, and you give it to him, the guy's like using a rotary phone to like call his manager, and it's a great sort of analogy of how everything related to you trying to make use of the healthcare system in the US, like it's nothing but it's things that are set up to be barriers so that you just give up at some point of the way, and then just like throw your hands up in the air because that's pure profit.
Well,
Yep.
it's
They see I'm
also
crazy. I guess I'm crazy.
it used to be you had a doctor in your town, and that doctor delivered you, and if your dad cut his knee, that doctor did that, and the doctor knew what your grandma ate for dinner, and the doctor sometimes even came to your house and knew what the environment was like. And so it was actually a general practitioner. And so there was family medicine that kind of bleached off. This is the start of it, though. Once it started family medicine, and then there was specialty, and they have surgeons, and then they have pediatricians, and then it's like, okay, we want kid doctors, we want some people to specialize in surgery. Do we want some people to specialize in heart and some to specialize in okay, yeah, let's separate all that too. And then it's like, okay, well, what about your endocrine sis? Okay, let's separate that. Okay, but what about just cancer in general? Let's separate that. Okay, well, what about obesity? Separate that. And so now that it's like everything's so separate, and all the doctors and all of the hospitals and all the agencies and all the marketers and all the marketing companies all get kickbacks for each referral that they're giving. And like insurance has a hierarchy to a lowerarchy, and the best referrals to get are Medicare referrals. So those are the people that once they hit the certain age, they get the best insurance. And the reason they like the Medicare referrals so much is because it's infinite until death, pretty much.
This is why I think that this is a space that AI can come in and just clean house, because how many of those referrals could have just, because most of the time it's like you get the scan from the scan place and then you bring the scan or the test results from that place to the specialist. If they didn't transfer it, sometimes they don't, like you got to do all that legwork. And all the specialist does is just analyzes it for patterns that they're used to, like, oh, this pattern might mean this issue, let me look into this further. Are you telling me we can't just upload some of those images anonymously without having it be tied to you and let AI determine what the patterns are? Because I don't know, like this seems like one angle that if doctors and specialists start losing their jobs just because they're the ones that are telling you what the problem is and not actually fixing anything, that seems like an accepted use of AI.
You're kind of selling me on this.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm willing to let, like, of the AI can replace doctors, the highest regurgitators in their lab coats, that it would be hard pressed to debate me on, like, you'd have to really go to be like, well, this is what doctors are good for. That I wouldn't be like, a nurse can do that better. Like, it'd be really hard pressed. So it's just like what you're saying, if we can take the specialty out of it by being like, why couldn't a computer tell you where a clog was going to be way before a doctor could tell you? And if a computer could tell you, you also wouldn't have to take a pill every day just because of maybe. A computer could tell you you have a 12% chance of getting a blockage in your heart.
Well, there's a lot of AI models, the same ones that people use to like determine if you're using bad words or if there's nudity on the screen. Like right now, if Abby were to like just do a normal competition, like the stream might get taken down because of the
What
AI.
about if I were to feed my baby?
Well, that's now we're on like, but the exact same.
It would be okay because I'm wearing the mustache.
right.
You'd actually get
It'd be
monetized
a sign of
instantly.
bravery.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I'm gonna break the internet.
How beautiful! How beautiful!
Look at that!
Share,
mommy,
share.
daddy feeding her baby.
Oh, how beautiful!
Someday.
Rest in peace, Bone.
I'll say that the same AI that's doing that to see if there's a nipple on the screen, they've got ones that analyze moles and can determine based on, you know, tens of millions or more of input data, like which kind of arrangements. And because most of the time when you go to a doctor, they're looking to see if it's like in a regular shape or if it's asymmetrical, and that's just one person looking at it. But when you've got AI doing it, you're essentially having all the people that have ever looked at one of them and determined doing it and looking at yours within the context of like millions. And that's way beyond any one single doctor's frame of reference that they'll ever have. So it's almost like we're doing ourselves a disservice by not having AI be the thing now that kind of fits in the space for a specialist.
Here's another thing to put the doctors down. They're getting more money to see you less. So now this exact thing, what we're doing, that's called telehealth. And they charge the same amount. They can't even hit my knee to make it go bink.
Yep.
Like, they can't even do this with their cold ass hands.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And people are like, "Oh, good. I don't have to drive in to go see them."
Well, how about like holding your medication
if I could do
for
this
random?
on the computer, and the camera was like, "Okay, put your tit in your phone screen right now in this box," and it analyzes it the same way it does my silly face to open it up, and it's like, "Your tit looks amazing. It has a 98% chance of being clean this year from breast cancer." Perfect. I don't need a doctor if I'm going to pay for telehealth, because the doctor's just going to refer me to another specialist to go put my tit in a clamp that's going to cause cancer in my breast.
Literally.
Sorry.
I don't know. I hate the system
This
right
is
now.
all. You know what? I wonder if we didn't get in trouble before
terrible,
because
man.
we wore costumes.
Wait, what?
I wonder if we didn't get in trouble before because we wore costumes. You know, doesn't it feel like everything that we got in trouble for, we talked about all the time and didn't get in trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we wore costumes, like we were being so silly that it was the AI looked at it and was like, "This is
what the fuck?
this is flim flam." Yeah, it moved on.
If we all just dress up like clowns, then we can say anything we want. I don't think that's actually how it works, though.
My other beef with the whole medical of it all, though, is like, okay, this isn't even narcotics. This is like medication for epilepsy. But like, I don't have insurance on my kids right now just because of the way shit is. And like her specialist won't redo her medication, though she's gonna be freaking lurching on the floor unless I go in and pay cash. And it's like, you know, fuck you guys. This isn't like narcotics. This is somebody's freaking livelihood, like being able to function in society.
Wow. Yeah.
But we can't have it unless you pay us. It's like, it's ransom.
Well, I mean, if we apply that same model to like the medical marijuana in Florida, at least, it's still like it's medicine, right? You got to go to a doctor, and you got to get a prescription, or they call it recommendations, so that it doesn't get conflated. But there's something really odd about if you really believe that this, like, if marijuana is replacing your need for some kind of cancer drug or some kind of pain medication that you would normally go to like a regular doctor. And if marijuana is truly replacing that thing, it's weird to have like BOGOs, you know what I mean? Like imagine having a BOGO for your diabetes medication, or having like every 3 you get to spin a big wheel and you might win like a keychain, and it's like, but I'm here for my medication that keeps me like functioning in society. You know, this is like a medical need. Why are you making me spin a wheel and maybe I'll win like a hat that has your company? It's so weird
because it's enjoyable too, though.
Well, I know. I'm saying, like, imagine if you did that when you went into CVS to get like
That's true.
your herpes medication or something. They're like, spin the wheel, you're gonna get a hat, a vaginal hat or something. I don't
Like
know.
I'm not in the fucking mood. Like, give me my shit. I gotta go.
Because there's legitimately people that I've seen at the dispensary that look like, you know, they're in pain and they're there for their pain meds essentially. And there's people mitigating real issues. And to have them like follow up somebody that just won like 10,000 points because they bought, you know, the super gummy, you know, purple double dragon or something.
There is I just believe every single ailment can be helped with THC. I'm such a big proponent of the cannabis industry, and it's the only thing I think that can stand up to big pharma, because every single pill, pretty much everything they've tried to create in a pill, there's a better form of that in nature. Every single thing. And that's why every single thing is illegal. And so with marijuana, from stories of people who have their lives back, the side effects that pills were giving them, that they were having to take because the pill was helping with something scarier, and that had their lives back, or the amount of elderly people that, you know, arthritis simply is just like eventually debilitating for them. And so in the smallest way that these people can like hang out with their grandkids, and I don't know, I just think it's not even a wonder drug. It just is something that we're supposed to have, and it should grow everywhere. And the one thing I will give the kids now and the modern alchemist, they know the terpenes so well. I believe better than any natives ever knew this plant specifically and how to pair it with other things, that if we could take that part of like just modern and even AI, us being able to communicate like this and share our studies, but unfortunately marijuana is still Schedule 1, so it can't have the same studies as everything else. But even for animals and for children, it's like kind of unbelievable, like what they're realizing, and all the amount of places that are coming up in the States that aren't legal with fake marijuana is making me like pretty irritated. It's so bad for you.
It's happening a lot. I heard about it yesterday. Some new kind of, I forgot what it's called. It's something new.
If
but
you
it's
go to
not
a
real.
concert, if you go to a concert, any state where marijuana is not legal, or a state where it's medical, and you go to a concert or a festival or something, there's some fucking snake oil salesman, and it looks like weed, and it's like THC weed, and they don't care. They're not going to be there tomorrow when you realize it sucks.
Yeah,
and
not good for you.
Yeah, so
And we're not even talking about like Mexican dirt weed or anything.
Yeah, I'm not talking about
the-
street weed. Get your street weed, people.
Yeah, well,
I didn't
they'll
say
get
that.
the street weed and then they'll spray it with some crap that they ordered from China in bulk. I've seen the weird videos too. It's just like some dude's, you know, garage floor, and they're just like spraying crap on it, and then they're putting it up in baggies, and they get the nice little Mylar bags that say, you know, like OG Kush or whatever, with like the holographic print, so it looks super official. But it's legitimately just the worst crap you can find.
Oh God!
With Chinese chemicals sprayed on top of it.
And that's what a lot of those think of, even before, like, because I believe we're kind of in like a silent war with an ancient country that we don't understand anything. Think of everybody with them vape pens. Think of everybody before, and like you don't know what that oil's from. So think of all the places where it's legal, like in California, that you don't know where that oil's from anymore. They're getting that shit shipped in. That is the one thing that I do appreciate about the medical industry in Florida right now, is it's clean, and I want to know my products are clean. And I will also say, for comparison, because everyone's always like, I went to a legal state, it blew my mind. I have had friends that are avid smokers that they came, because what happens once it's all the way rec, they can put whatever number they want to on it. they can put 35% hullabaloo, but it doesn't mean it's that. It doesn't mean it's from that strand. It doesn't mean anything. Where in the medical states, they're still relying on lab testing. They're still relying on, so you know how much CBD's in it. You know how much CBN's in it. You know what the terpene breakdown is, like it's the back of an ingredient container. So
And they
I
got
think
these batch numbers. So there's like unofficial forums and stuff. There's one like a Florida Medical Trees subreddit and a whole bunch of other ones. But if one person gets something that's just like slightly off or bunk, or it may seem like it's old or anything at all, then they'll blast the company, they'll blast the batch number, and you can like trace down and everyone get like I really do appreciate that part of how Florida's doing it, even though I hate the fact that you got to register with the freaking state.
you have to register with the state. But also, it's one of the most amazing places to walk through a dispensary door in Florida because the tax man don't live there. There's no tax man there.
That's why Oki's like,
because it's federally illegal. So, oh, fuck the tax man. So it's pretty fantastic to just be in an industry right now that the Fed could still rain down. Like it's still illegal. The state, this is where your state constitution's more important. Do they got the brass though? Yeah, I'm looking at you, FBI. You got the brass to come into Florida and shut down dispensaries because it's still federally illegal. So it's just that kind of stuff is
it's still super shady in Florida though, because the only people that have the licenses still in order to sell all have like some political connections high up. That they also all have incentives to make sure that they're the only people in this little pond right now, because it seems like legally by now they could open it up to anyone that just wants to start, a dispensary, but it's still limited to like, I don't know what the number is. It's like less than 100, I think. And the requirements are that you have to own like your own plants and your own plots of land. Like you have to own like the entire supply chain, I think, in Florida. At least that's what the rule was until recently. And the way that they tie that down is that you're not allowed to buy land that's going to be used to cultivate marijuana unless you've got some other special license. And there's only like 10 of those that are given out every year. And it's only if you're like best friends with the mayor and stuff. So now you've got all these big companies in Florida that are the dispensaries, but they're all kind of voting against the marijuana laws, right? Like every law that comes up that would make it easier for people to just grow it on their own or just have recreation. It seems that the dispensaries are voting against those because it would destroy the monopoly they've got.
So you guys can't grow your own with medical marijuana?
Nope.
Okay, because you can here.
Really?
Yeah. If you have medical, you can grow your own.
And they say you can't grow your own here because what would you know about growing your own medicine?
It's not that difficult. I had a little grow thing in my garage for a long time, so
it is. That's what people think. Growing a tomato plant's not difficult, but how many people do you know that can actually keep tomato plants enough to keep them harvesting?
There is a lot to it. Like we realize though it's just cheaper to go freaking buy it, and it's a lot less work. So.
But it's not like messing up and like trying to make your own meth and like you might die in the process. Like the worst thing that'll happen
is
you might end up smoking something that's got like no THC in it because it like, turned male or something.
But if you needed it for an actual ailment, it would
for a specific ailment.
Then you would be bummed out if it had no THC in it.
Like or whatever you said, the word with the T.
Yeah, like the right terpenes.
So there you go.
Not all the dispensaries. There's a couple, I won't even name them, that are against it because they owned a certain amount. But the dispensary that I am employed by is in legal states already. It doesn't affect it either way of what it does. But there are some that are really against it, but a lot of the states that it's already legal, that people are like, I live in a legal state, pop my collar. The only reason their state was legalized so fast is because the equivalent of Philip Morris owns all your grow houses. And that's the only weed they're allowed to buy in their state. So it's like they think they're allowed to get, some kind of legal weed, but like you're saying, there's not all the places that you're allowed to have your own plant. Not all the places are every grower allowed to sell to dispensaries. Not all so there are things about California with certain places is because they allow a lot of growers to give to dispensaries. And that makes the market like where if your shit's good, people know your shit's good.
Yeah.
And then it's like
Mm.
Joe down the street that's just been doing this 100 years, he can sell his stuff without having to be a big, huge corporation. That is a nice part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think Americans should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do without taxes. I don't think any of
Without
it,
the daddy government.
without daddy government. But I also do believe because of the kids, they're just great with marijuana. Like marijuana's better, one of the technologies that's gotten better over the years, and like it is strong enough now that if you don't know what you're doing, you could hurt yourself.
Mm.
You're
Yeah.
not
You know
like
what you're
Mexican
doing.
dirt weed that you could sit there all day and smoke and smoke and smoke, and it was like bud in a
Dude.
can.
Yeah.
I have had to buy raw milk from a dude in a van on a Tuesday by a
Man milk.
walnut farm. I'm like, what?
Man,
Yeah, you gotta, you know where that walnut farm is? Like across the street on Tuesdays, about 10:30. There's a dude that shows up in a white van, and he'll sell you raw milk. But that's it. like you can't
I
get
know
raw
an
milk
exact
for
thing
anything,
where people, there's the way they have to get their raw milk is they give their money to
and
a
it's good.
person, they Venmo it, and then they get a text that a certain day of the week on their shelf there'll be bottles of milk, and then they go to this farm like that's so totally out in the middle of nowhere that has no cows, that just has a shelf with their milk on it.
Yeah, that's what my brother does.
Yeah.
You get some of these glass
So
bottles.
weird because I just live in a place where like you could just go do that anywhere. Like dairy farmers, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Like I used to be when I was a kid, we drank milk from a neighbor. Like we
Yeah.
just get a big old
Right from a
jug and
neighbor's
go
tit. We
like,
just
like-
were
I
like,
went through this one shop
go
window and
over
I
and
got a
get-
vape, and the lady goes, "Do you want to buy some farm fresh eggs?" I was like, "Yep, give me a
hell
dozen."
yeah. Oh,
like-
dude, I got a hookup now. I'm stoked on
For
the
milk?
good eggs. For eggs.
Eggs.
I'm
But
just
I
saying,
do
like
know
it's
where the
normal here. You could go
I
anywhere.
knew
It's
though
like
the guy in the
they want to
van.
sell you what they grow.
It's wild to think that people back in the day, like it was an actual profession that you could raise a family and own a house and a car and everything, just bringing milk to people. Like that was the entire profession, was being a milkman. It's such a
Milkman
weird
thing is so
concept.
weird,
Like what
isn't it?
other jobs centered around bringing somebody just like one specific beverage?
I know one that was even weirder that I always think about.
Crystal Pepsi Man.
There was a job once that a guy just brought a cube of ice to your house with a big, huge
Yeah,
pincher,
right.
and then would put it in your metal box that was
Your ice
called your
box?
ice box,
Mm.
and that would just slowly melt down that
Yes.
big cube, but it would keep that whole silver thing cold, and that became a refrigerator later. Like the
That's
Iceman.
crazy.
That is so crazy. I just always saw pictures of a guy with the metal pincher. I always wondered what the Iceman tool was, because it's such a torture tool.
I remember this from like old Lassie and like Dennis the Menace episodes, I think.
Let's see.
We had an old ice box, and it wasn't metal; it's wood, but it's like lined with these big old thick rubber. Like the shelves are lined with rubber.
Hmm.
The Dennis and Menace cartoon, like old cartoons and
Insulation.
stuff.
We didn't use it as an ice box. It was just an antique furniture, But
Sure.
We had an actual
you had to
refrigerator.
adjust it because we
Where
were
was
all
so
judging.
Paul?
We were all judging you. You were like, I'm
We were-
not. Hey,
we were
just
poor,
so you
but-
know,
No, my
I'm
mom
not
kept
that
the china.
poor or
My
that
mom kept
old.
the china in it.
Look at it's these tools, and they would like
Oh, that looks
pinch
like a
ice
definitely
with it,
torture device.
right?
That's what I thought.
And then like these
They have
trucks
those.
would.
They have those in these warehouses downtown in Tucson still, where you can see they've got the one of the old warehouses was like a train depot for ice, where the trains would come in and dump giant blocks of ice, and they'd shave it off in the thing, and they'd haul it up in this elevator or something, and then yeah, the whole bit with ice. I mean, kept people alive out here in the desert.
Yeah, that or either you canned everything.
Yeah.
Everything was canned.
Although people survived here
Mhm.
for thousands of years before ice. Really.
How did people survive here without air conditioning is what I want to know. Like the
And,
Amish, I'm like,
dude.
what the fuck? It is so fucking hot
Here
and humid.
too.
I
Yeah.
feel like I would be fine in Florida without air. If like in an old Florida home, it's flat, and if you open the windows, like it's hot AF, but I don't mind the heat the same way other people. I'm just not a
This
I
huge
love the
fan of
heat.
the AC.
I
This
love
isn't one of
heat.
those places. Like
You can acclimate to it though, because I think that none of the jails in Florida, the entire state, not a single one has air conditioning for the inmates, and it's not like cruel and unusual punishment because people just acclimate to it. Like it might suck if you don't like sweating all the time, but
Yeah.
you won't die from it.
Yeah. You just
That's
learn to sweat.
I even
oh,
drive with my windows open. I don't like the AC. Like I love driving, even if it's hot out. I'd rather have the wind blowing in the car. That's just my
I
thing.
like it.
I
I
got
like
thick
the window
thighs. I
down.
don't
I
like
do
them
that.
freaking sweating.
I
It's
like
so
that.
gross.
You know,
I like
okay,
to sweat
this is something
sometimes.
that should be said. I'm sorry, it's not a conspiracy, but it just maybe. There has to be an invention for I'm not a lady with this problem, but I hear about it enough. There has to be an invention for thighs ladies that there's like a cream that they can put on their legs that doesn't sweat off so they don't have to worry about their legs chafing.
Probably deodorant. But I
I
would never.
didn't
I don't know. I don't want to try that.
I just hear about it all the time from thick thighs ladies once summer breaks in
Oh my
Florida. And
gosh.
I'm like, bike shorts, I guess. That's what I would. And they're like, I'm not wearing bike shorts. Like, it's always
Mm.
girly girls. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think of an invention.
It's worse. Like the dress is the worst thing. So I wore a dress to my son's graduation. I'm like, oh my god, my legs are just slippery. It's so gross.
Slide, slippity
You ever worn a
slide.
kilt, Thomas?
I've just recently found out that you have to be naked under a kilt.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel
Really?
like I
Yes.
haven't really appropriated that culture yet.
Not all the way. Okay.
Really naked?
Yeah.
Mhm. That's part
It's
of
the
the thing.
tradition.
I
Part of
didn't.
the
I
thing.
absolutely thought that was
That's
just
why
like
you
a
get them
joke,
really
but yeah.
heavy.
And
Just
and
let
the
them
other thing
hang?
too is the like overwhelming desire to just flash people. If you
Dude,
know that, like, you just
exactly.
imagine you're with a bunch of drunk Irishmen, all in kilts, and they're all naked under those kilts. You're gonna be just
It's
seeing
gonna be
dick
flashing
all the time.
all the time.
They
Yep.
battled like that?
Whatever, it's the same thing.
They,
I don't know.
I'm
wait,
Scottish.
wait.
I'm not Irish, so I'm gonna
I
say
don't know
it's
how
not.
much of that is true.
It all depends on
I
your
can't
tartan,
imagine.
but
It does depend
Scottish
on your
and
tartan.
Irish and English, but mostly kilt wise is Scottish and Irish.
But they really
Yeah.
battled like that without, just
Yes.
letting it all
Yeah.
hang?
Haven't you ever seen Braveheart?
Yeah, but like
That they wear
Mr.
kilts.
Those are
Everything's
actually
blanket,
those
everything, yeah.
kind. Those
They're
kind are
free
actually
falling.
a lot more practical. The ones that wrap that like you hold
Go
up,
over the shoulder.
they're all wrapped up, and then it kind of comes around like more like a tunic. It's like more secure, and you can wrap it tight. Those are actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I can
but
see practicality in those, but
Well, also the whole concept of going commando seems like they originated that. Like that's way before any
yeah,
the concept of a commando existed. The Scottish were already doing it on the battlefield for real.
I wonder under the fustanelas in ancient Greece, and Albania, if
this is
they
how the Scottish would taunt the English after their arrows were all shot at them.
It's a bunch of full moons.
Yep, they would all show their asses to them, and
Just
then
imagine though, it would
this
be
is
so
Silly
hard
King.
not
Yep.
to if it was just like a lift of your kilt away to do this
You want to see the full moon?
all the time.
and also in battle, like all these arrows are shot at you. A couple of the guys get hit and die, and then you all fucking show your ass, and then turn around and keep running again. Them Scottish, the Scottish and Irish don't get enough credit for their battles, their techniques, but I feel like you can see it in Scottish and Irish people still to this day. Like they're the same kind of people that would be in a fist fight and just be like, and I'm gonna moon them.
When I think of an Irish fight, I just imagine car bombs going off.
Yeah, the IRA.
Yeah,
That's in our like in our born time.
it is.
Yeah,
And I've
that
heard
is in
too
our
that,
lifetime.
like lots of
I'm-
tourists get jumped in Dublin, thinking that it's like, oh, I've read about this and I've heard about this in movies, and people just like end up wandering off. And it's like if you stand out like a tourist, you just get mugged.
That's everywhere.
So Morgan Spurlock died. Do we think it is a conspiracy that he died? Like, what else is going on? Is like McDonald's? What's
They're
going
all
on?
over New York Post this week. Like there's one and it's just random stories. One of them is that the lady was drying the mop head in the French fry thing. Like, and then another one is that some
Oh,
guy
yeah.
DoorDashed a hamburger with nothing on it, or like a hamburger with nothing. And they literally give him a bag, like they DoorDashed it, and there's like nothing in the bag. So it's like it's weird that they're posting on, and then they put in a Wendy's is selling 1 cent burgers. So I'm like, are they trying to tank the whole McDonald's stock or something? Oh, there we go. So
Hey, I just feel like that was all AI telling you to sell your McDonald's stock or do the short on it.
yeah,
Like we all do the shorts. Like, how do you invest in derivatives? Like, how do I learn the stock market quick?
sell your McDonald's stock. And it's at Wendy's is low as 1 cent burger, so maybe it's time to invest in Wendy's.
They are saying like, oh, the economy must be really bad because every single fast food place, now that you mention it, I was listening somewhere on my drive yesterday. I was listening to like talk radio and they were like, every single fast food place, their fast food sales are down. I think it was an astronomical amount. Like every single fast food place sales are down 300%.
Because
Oh,
it's
wow.
like $20 to eat fast food now. You may as well go sit at a
This is what
restaurant.
it was. It's 3 times the amount right now to eat at any fast food place than it was before. And it's half the amount to eat or twice the amount to eat at any restaurant right now. So the way that the levels of them are going, how we were even talking shit, like the second you go through Taco Bell with 2 people, you might as well go sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Unless you've been molded for 20 years to like prefer Taco Bell over that sit down place, both in experience and in palate, right? Like if you've shocked your palate into liking the fast food, now all of a sudden they can charge a premium because now it's like, oh, do you want that thing that's been programmed into your palate for decades? It's going to come at a premium now. You can go to some mom and pop, like you can almost invert it, right? Because it used to be that fast food was cheap because you knew it was like lower quality and it was fat, but now those might be selling points.
And it's the same material. Nothing's changed. Like the ingredients.
Material, if anything, it's like they give you.
Yeah, probably worse than before.
And that's the
There
thing
was
is I like Taco
another.
Bell
There was
when
a
I
book
want
that-
Taco Bell. I like Mexican food when I want Mexican food. You know, I don't know. They're not
Well, yeah.
the same.
If you're gonna sign off of chorizo and just not mess with chorizo anymore, right? Go right for lengua. Like if you can
Lingua.
handle,
Oh, lingua's good though.
if you can
Are
handle.
you telling me
lengua and
that
just get over
Cholito I had wasn't real Mexican food?
it.
Got chalupa.
I don't know. I think it's a brainwashing for the lower class. Like somewhere, like they give them all like minimum wage for fast food workers goes up, and every single person that had a job that wasn't fast food, they were like, "What? Fuck that! I have a real job, a skilled job, and I don't make that much." And then right after that, we go through all of these lockdowns where all those fast food workers became essential employees. and we all needed them there because the only thing we could do was drive through. And they beforehand, like they all got the Bill Gates meat ahead of time, like just to be on the curve for when all of everything else shut down. That if a certain president didn't sign an executive order, all the meat plants would have shut down too, and we would have been forced to have Bill Gates meat. But that's a different timeline. No one remembers executive orders, and no one ever looks into them.
No, ever.
We won't talk about politics right
That was wild that right at the exact same time as the supply chain is hurting and people can't get, like, I remember beef and meat was just, it was limited. Like one person could get one package at the grocery store and they were like enforcing it. But you could get all the Beyond Meat that you wanted. You get all the fake meat you wanted, and no one was still buying it. Like literally nobody was buying it.
Yeah.
It was the last thing on the shelf, still standing.
They tried, you know, I feel like they tried. It just didn't work, and they didn't know what to do about it.
Like Beyond Meat. I wouldn't eat a thing called Beyond Meat. Like, what the fuck?
I know they should have gone with less.
It's like a riddle. It's like Beyond Meat. Okay, so what is it? It's beyond that. Okay.
It is a bad marketing.
Yeah, terrible.
All of their weird burgers are bad marketing ploys.
Speaking of meat,
those were I think those were to get like meat eaters, hardcore meat eaters, to dabble in vegetarianism. Like it was appealing to people that maybe had no reason to want to become a vegetarian and then like dip their toe in it. But I think it was a failed plot. Like, who in the world is going to go from a real burger to a Beyond Meat burger and be like, oh, this is the new way? Like, I can't not do this one forever.
Well, they actually, beforehand, Netflix pushed all those shows to show you how gross meat plants were, to show you how gross like your pigs are eating pigs. Like there was so many documentaries.
It's very anti-meat.
They really wanted us off the meat train.
I mean, there's been so many E. coli recalls of just like lettuce, though. You know what I mean?
Have you guys heard the newest? Have you guys heard the newest thing with the beef industry? How the ranchers, they're requiring the federal government, I guess, or the FDA is requiring all ranchers to put an RFID tag in every single one of their beef, in their ear tags, an RFID tag, so the government can track all their beef, and all the ranchers are pushing back right now.
Well,
and
yeah,
there's a big thing, and there's a big thing going on in Utah. I can't remember the dude's name, but maybe look into that.
It is interesting when you think about.
They always fuck the ranchers.
If they had their ruthers, it's kind of a good thing that most of the states that most of the cows are in. California has a lot of cows though, but Texas, Florida, Hawaii has a lot of cows. There's places with a lot of cows that are a little more like blue leaning, but it is crazy. Remember when Oprah went up against Texas beef? Because she tried to tried to say some shit, and Texas beef was like, and they just thought Oprah was going to get away with talking shit, and she was going to help the whole vegetarian movement start. And a couple of Texas cattlemen were like, "You better come apologize." Like everybody in Texas were like banned Oprah. It was like one of her first controversies that it just didn't go over smooth for her.
You can't ban meat. Like that could never happen. I don't see that happening.
Well, I'm pretty sure in Demolition Man wasn't Taco Bell vegetarian at that point.
Yeah, it was, but come on. I don't want to manifest that. Fuck that.
That can't happen. Well, get your own cows. Ugh.
Like, what would they do with all the cows? Like, what, hoard them for themselves, or like?
You know that they go extinct, essentially. I mean, it would probably be smaller batch, so now only a very certain niche of people would afford it or even have it, like banned cows, right? But there's really no reason for cows to exist in that point. And if you look at some of the logical conclusions of like PETA, where they don't think that any animal should be domesticated, period, there's so many of those animals that would have no place in the world that we've crafted for ourselves now. So really, it's like, they love this animal so much that they'd prefer it go extinct rather than cohabitate space with humans.
Well, it's probably the illusion of the world that we created because there's still lots of space that we can have animals and like leave the areas alone. We're just not allowed to go to these places. They don't make the roads to go to these places. Like the land is vast, but the cities make it an illusion that it's like, oh, look what we created and this is it. But no,
Well, but
the
look
world
at
is.
these like chickens that now get like way bigger than they've ever gotten before and way faster.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
Genetically, like you're not going to just plop
Oh,
that
yeah.
out in the middle of a forest and like, all right, have at it. The same way you wouldn't take a Chihuahua
It wouldn't
and
survive, yeah.
throw the Chihuahua out in the middle of a forest and be like, okay, you're a dog, you know, have at it. It's like we've screwed that up.
Sheep do not survive on their own.
Yeah, sheep, yeah, like the New Zealand ones, but there's so many examples of animals that just would not exist.
You know why sheep can survive on
hardcore
their own? Because one sheep got away for like 4 years. They didn't find the sheep and they just thought it was dead. It's a sheep out in the wild. And they're like, because sheep, when they're not, what is it, sheared, that their hair grows long enough, nothing can eat
Right.
them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've seen that.
So they just become
And they
a
found this thing
ball.
wandering in the forest, right?
Yeah,
And it's
couldn't
all
really
blop,
see.
blop,
Yep,
blop,
bloop,
blop,
bloop,
blop,
bloop.
blop,
Huge,
blop,
huge,
blop. It was like, it looks like a little cotton hippo or something. Blop,
Yeah,
blop, blop,
yeah.
blop,
Like
blop,
I'm
blop,
sure
blop.
wolves walked past it a bunch.
Yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah.
were
They're
like,
like, "Oh,
What the fuck is that?
what is that?
like, the whole
The
lice
gigantic
thing.
maggot. Do you see that maggot?
Did
you
you
see
see
the
that
size of that
tardigrade?
maggot? Holy shit, the tardigrade. It was like a giant. Them,
But that's
them water bears are getting bigger.
There's a certain breed. I was writing a comic book. It's written, but I haven't produced it yet. That's all about sheep, and I had to learn about all the different sheep breeds because each breed, I was trying to take the name. Anyways, the coolest one is a sheep called the Lincoln sheep, and they basically are. They don't trim them the same way, and they grow these huge, like curly dreadlocks. Like they literally look like
Right.
Rastafari sheep. They're called Lincoln sheep.
That's awesome. Be like, Lincoln sheep, come tell me a story. Big up yourself, Lincoln sheep.
There's a dog breed like that too, I think. No?
Yeah, it looks very similar to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, life after people. Some of these animals are going to have a rough transition. But you also said the Chihuahua thing. I don't think the Chihuahuas are going to have a rough transition if shit goes ham. I think wild
No, they'll
packs
be
of
all right.
dogs are one of the first scary things that humans have to come up against. This is
Mhm.
why I believe like it's a funny thing in retrospect when Sarah Palin shooting wolves out of helicopters. Well, in places that the Nazis were trying to take over farmland, they would release wolves because the only natural competitor with humans is wolves. So everything we eat, they eat. They become an immediate threat to us. And they pack better, hunt better, communicate without words. Like they're natural hunters. So they start releasing these wolves around. So they're like the first, if you're in a place like Alaska, they're your natural competition immediately. That if you have
That's
a
true.
helicopter, you might as well take out your natural competition with a little bit of extra.
Well,
Because
and
you
if
need to
you
eat
are
that.
making your own food and raising your own chickens, guess who your competition is now? Like it's those wolves.
Yeah, they're coming after.
That's actually one of the interesting sources I've heard on werewolves is that some of the origin werewolf stories was because if you're out in the middle of nowhere, right, and you're growing all your own food and something keeps coming in and like stealing your chickens or killing your goats or whatever, there was only two things that it could have been. One was that it was wolves, and the other is that it was like a nearby neighbor, a human. But you couldn't necessarily accuse your neighbors because these tiny communities, you'd be starting like Hatfield and McCoy feuds all the time. But legitimately, like your neighbor might have come and stolen some chickens because theirs died or whatever. So then it became you would blame it on the werewolves, and the werewolves was almost like a stand-in. So when you were telling someone else a story, it was like it was Jimmy across the street. You know, it was Farmer Bob by saying werewolf, by not making the direct accusation. But you're saying that it was like a humanoid figure that did wolf-like things, and now my chickens are gone.
I think I turn into a werewolf on the full moon.
So you go out and steal
and
chickens?
Depends
I have
on
no
what
memory
full
of
moon.
it, but every single time after the full moon when it starts waning, waning. Is that when it gets less?
Mhm.
I think
Think
so.
so.
When it starts doing that, I have a migraine immediately. Like once the moon hits like 98% on the other side, I get a migraine every time. It happens enough where it's like migraine to throw up. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I had a rough night contorting. Maybe I did eat stuff like my body burned too many calories because I always have to puke up whatever it is that I put in my body then. So if I don't eat anything, it's just really bile, and which is the worst. But I know myself well enough now that I always try to like, okay, I'm gonna get sick. Like I have an aura of it. So I try to eat like frozen mandarin oranges or drink cold milk because coming back up, it's not as bad. But I don't know what it is. I
Shoot.
think, anyways, that's what I came up with today is maybe I'm a werewolf.
I can go behind that. I get exhausted during full moons,
I'm
but
a
like,
lunatic.
but then I can't sleep.
Same.
For me,
I
it
don't think I
depends
ever
on the
noticed.
moon. Like what moon is in that planet, and how it affects me. So if it's like Pisces or Sagittarius, like it is right now, then I feel like that's when it'll have an effect, but it'll have like a different effect with each moon and each sign and each house.
Yeah, this moon, now that you mention it, I was driving back from the west coast of Florida and it was on the moonrise. It was the biggest,
Huge.
It's
most
huge right now,
beautiful
dude.
pink
I'm
moon
looking
I
at.
have ever seen in my whole life. Like I just felt like it hung out with me like my whole drive and then slowly turned orange and then yellow. That
Same.
it was so enormous. And it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I would sit with it for like 10 minutes and I was like, I gotta take a picture of this. I know it's not going to turn out, but it's just the best moon. And every time I took my phone out, I'd go behind a tree line. That on like the
Right.
second
I
or
had
third
that happen.
time, I
So
was
yeah.
like, fair enough. Like
Yep.
this is just for me. I'm just gonna sit in it.
Yeah. You can't do it on the freeway, and you're like fucking. Eh. It was
But even then,
beautiful,
it's one of
man.
those pictures that even if
It
you
was
took it
gorgeous.
and you're looking back at it, it's not going to capture even like a millionth of whatever
No.
No,
you're seeing.
and it
So
was so beautiful. And the pictures I did get of it, the flower moon, it didn't ever do it justice. Like it was just so orange and beautiful, and just it looked like the sun. It looked like another sun.
It did.
It was crazy.
I
Wouldn't
saw
that
tonight driving, risk my life taking pictures on the highway driving.
Yeah.
Like, I can't fucking miss this. It's so beautiful. It was gorgeous.
I know the car has so many
It's
cameras. It
gorgeous.
wants to do so much. Why doesn't it just put a tiny camera on the roof that you can hit a button
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
driving?
Say what?
Right? Oh
Like,
my
hey
God.
Yeah.
Google, you're
Cat in
recording
that
everything.
shit.
Can I just put a 36-degree camera on my top of my car?
oh, they'd
Cat
be
in that
happy
shit.
to. They'd be happy to if you could just stream all that footage back to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you could have a Google account and they gave you a tiny camera for free, but it recorded all your shit so you could use it later.
See, I don't like
Mhm.
we could legitimately live in this I don't think this is too naive to say, but like we could live in a reality where Tesla and Google or whoever just give you your cars for free, and it's like everything is all paid, and the exchange is that you get free Wi-Fi, but you're also like you are the 360 Google car that's constantly recording footage and everything, and you are Waze, and you are, you know what I mean, like every single person's car, just like you would see like people driving around in the True Nolan cars with the big mouse ears, or there was ones where
They
for the
have
longest
Truly
time
Nolan
you could
somewhere else.
well, you could get paid to like wrap your car with some like Red Bull or whatever, you know what I mean, and
Oh
drive
yeah.
around and they put like a big, and they would take over like a certain portion of your car payment. But it seems like that could be easy. Like everyone should be able to have a free car in the exchange that you're just constantly spying for Big Brother.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that already.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to do that if people are already acclimated to like spending money to do the same thing. Like you're already
That's
feeding
true.
your data to Big Brother and paying for it. Why would they ever give that to you for free? That's why the the universal basic income thing seems like such an absolute scam. It's like, why would they give something for free when they could charge for the same thing?
Yeah, and you already have your phone. They're like, we'll just put a Pokemon Go here and they'll come and film it for us.
Right, but like the same thing where like phones used to be free and now it's like, oh wait, you idiots will pay like $2,000 and you'll pay the $100 a month. Let's do that. Why would you ever go back on that?
And you'll pay the $199 a month for the app.
Oh, and we're gonna sell you insurance, yeah.
And you don't care if the cord really falls apart every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. And you don't care when the software update, your phone's going to stop working immediately right when
Right.
you pay it off every time.
The wild part is that we are now actively, like at this moment, we're in the transition of the thing that's been predicted forever, where software isn't even run on your own devices. Like now it's all just being run in the cloud. And I know that it's been happening for the last like decade plus, but now it's getting to the point where, like, for example, Windows is just have like built-in AI stuff. There was like an NVIDIA talk, or I can't remember what the company was, but they basically said that all computers are now going to start having these neural chips built into them. So now the new version of computer software and hardware is that it's running AI stuff. So instead of you going to your, this is a bad example, but instead of you like opening up your calculator and putting numbers in and having the actual calculator doing the formula, it'll just send it to some AI network that's done calculator stuff, you know, millions of times, and just give you the AI production of that, which means that now, like, your phone, when you're running whatever, making a call, like that's going to end up using software that's hosted somewhere out in the cloud. And it's like your phone's not doing anything other than just talking to these AI cloud services.
I always wonder, like, well, look at how many people, most of their actual photos aren't even on your phone anymore. So you have all
they're
these
in Apple Cloud.
Yeah, like how like all their family pictures or everything. I hear it all the time too. And the number one reason, it was like when the phones first came out, the parents would lose the pictures of their kids. That would be like the big way. And so they were like, tired of losing pictures of your kids? Tired of losing those special moments in your life? Put it on the cloud. You'll have it forever. And then it's like, oh, you need a little more space. We need to charge you every month. Like, to what point, after they have a certain amount of memories, will you pay all this? And then if you're like, I'm tired of paying this, they just show you like one memory from a decade ago. You're tired of paying for this? It's your dead cat. You're tired of paying for Miss Monk?
And remember, it was like, it was free. So you've got like, oh, all the storage you want, just put it in this spot. And now it's like, oh, and this is going to be $30 a month. And we've already banned you from it. You don't have access to it. So you better start paying that $30 a month now if you want to even download those old dead pictures of your cat.
Or what if you say the wrong thing online and you don't get to look at your dead your pictures of your dead cat for a little while?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll withhold your
freeze
pictures
you out of that
from you.
stuff.
If you're questioning a certain event that happened in 2020, now not only are your closest, you know, loved ones gone because of that thing, but if you say anything about the thing that took them away from you, now you can't even get pictures of them as they were on their way out.
This feels so peculiar on my face when it feels like it's almost a muzzle. Like I was eating peanuts and I keep feeling like I'm gonna bite my cheek. So weird. Sticky mustache. I know real mustaches aren't sticky. They fold with your face. I assume.
Yeah, they do. All the curves and cracks.
Layla.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
you want to say goodbye to everyone?
You feel all right?
Yeah, I love you guys. Yeah, I'm not feeling good. I'm in pain, you know, and my brain doesn't work, and I want it to work, but when you keep getting this like sharp pain in you, it's just, you can't focus. So I'm just gonna try and go to bed and drink water and call it a night.
And for those of you who don't know that joined us, Layla doesn't have a mustache on. She has a unibrow. She went free to Callow. So
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
you know, and if you're joining and you're like, huh, Abby does
Where's her
have a
mustache?
mustache on. Like it's like you might just have weird shading on your TV that you're like, occasionally I look at Abby and she looks like
Look,
she has a
she
mustache
actually
on.
started growing one.
Yeah, she has like a 5 o'clock shadow. That's what happens to Abby if she doesn't shave
That's
in one day.
Yeah.
that's
All right.
like
Love you guys.
I love you, Layla. Feel
love
better.
you.
All
Keep
Good
in
night.
touch.
All right.
Night.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Good night.
And then there were 4.
There was another thing about the Super Size Me, because right around the time that came out, I think maybe 5 or 6 years afterwards, Fast Food Nation got a movie made out of it. And the movie kind of sucked, but the book was, I think, pretty decent. And there
So
was one
good,
part in
yeah.
particular that blew my mind. And it's one of those things you read and you're like, oh, of course they're doing this. Why wouldn't they? But that even if you go into a fast food restaurant, or more specifically in like a mall, or if you've got like a shopping plaza connected to a fast food restaurant, they would create artificial scents that smelt like the freshest fries that just came out of the fryer, or like like a meat
Charbroil.
patty that just all of those different smells like tallow oil, and then
Like
they would
Subway.
just pump the artificial smell into the area so that people are like, damn, that smells really good, and not even realize that they never smell the food. It was all just artificial crap. And I remember one of the gyms that I would go to right after work, they had like a Wendy's or something right next door, and you would always just in the gym, everyone's working out and you're just smelling like Wendy's nonstop. But like that could have just all been artificial scents that they're just pumping in.
Well, and that's half the flavor too, though, because most of your flavor is through your sense of smell. So, yeah, they were creating all like I guess right off the freeway in New Jersey. They have all these labs where they just create scents for fast food, and yeah, so the charbroil flavor on your Hardee's or Carl's Jr. or your Burger King,
No,
they're
your
not
Burger
charbroiled.
King's real.
Oh, is it real?
It's
I
the
was like,
only
the
one
others, they're
that's
not real.
charbroiled.
It's
It
like
goes over a conveyor belt.
I was gonna say the Hardee's and all that is not. It's actually it's just a scent, but it
I
tastes
think
that way because smell and taste are so interlinked.
I think that's why Burger King got its thing, is that it was like everybody else uses a flat top. We're gonna actually put your burger over flame.
So we're already being acclimated to eating fake meat. I mean, McDonald's is God, that is not fucking meat, right? Like that is all
To all
chemicals
beef
and
patties. You remember
whoa.
the whole
Yeah, right. Special sauce, large cheese.
Or where's the beef? That's really
Did you
old.
guys do a little clap thing
Oh,
with like 2 all beef patties, special sauce, something
oh
something?
right. I think I remember my sister doing that.
But the Grimace allegedly, like, have you guys ever seen the soy strips like that are the dried soy strips that you can like reconstitute and cut up and make spaghetti with or whatever? Supposedly Grimace was a soy strip, so I don't know how true though. All beef
Soy
patties
strip?
was. Yeah,
I
I thought Grimace was a shake.
Huh?
he's
What? A
a
purple
purple
shake?
fucking soybean. He's a
Purple
soy
shake.
strip.
I always thought he was
Yeah, it
McDonald's
makes
dick.
it's just it's just
Clown dick is purple.
I
his
don't.
scrotum. It'd have to be the
Weird.
whole
Grimace.
scrotum. Like
What's
kind of
your like? And
diseased
then you think of a
scrotum,
face.
maybe.
This is a grimace.
Hmm.
Like so
Yeah.
that like would you want that about your food?
Yes.
So
Grimace.
weird.
Remember they had a cop? There was like a burger cop that
Oh, yeah.
was always catching the
And
ham.
Mayor McCheese.
Mayor
Oh. I forgot.
Sheriff.
I felt like yeah, you're right. Mayor McCheese. Let's look up.
Was the quarter pounder the sheriff or something? Was
It
it
was
a cop?
like a British cop that had like a
Oh
knife
yeah.
or
He
something.
had like
Like to
the
imply that this guy was like beating people. And I don't know, it would be awesome to have like a thin blue line like McDonald's mascot now in 2024, but I
Oh
haven't
my
seen
gosh, you're so right. This is such a paranoid
I'm wearing a
American.
Grimace shirt. I'm wearing the
I
Grimace
remember as
colors.
a kid because there was a McDonald's in our town. Like I grew up in a tiny farm town, and it was the one McDonald's, and people would always be climbing up inside of the jungle gym, which was the cop, and so many kids fell out of that thing, and they would like hit their ribs all the way down on like these metal barriers, and it was like
Oh my
known that
gosh.
like the cop hamburger was a death trap. So I had an immediate distrust of police because of how many kids were hurt on the Mick policeman ride.
I remember the McPoliceman, and I'm trying to find pictures of all the characters right now, and the McPoliceman
Right,
is
guys.
not anywhere to be found. It's offensive.
I think there was a playground, one of the playgrounds in the McDonald's here in Tucson that had the playground thing, and it was like a jail. The giant Mayor McCheese thing was like a jail on the inside, and it would cook a child inside that in the summer. It was the
Big
hottest
Mac,
thing
that's
in the
him.
universe.
Mayor McCheese, Big Mac. Oh, he's Big Mac.
Big Mac is a
Big
cop.
Mac.
Is the fuzz. That's what you need on your police
that was
brutality
it.
thing. And then also the goblins. What?
What is that?
Yeah, I don't remember that
What's
at
a
all. I
goblin?
remember the
Oh,
Fry Guys.
the Fry Guys.
I found a
remember
picture of
those.
the death trap too. The death trap
Where's
ride
the
that
green thing?
kids used to get hurt in.
Look at and Professor. They're letting us know the professor was making weird shit in there. Captain Crook.
Pirate.
Captain Crook and the Hamburglar. Jeez. And Ronald like what a bunch of criminals. Okay, hold on.
It is a lineup too. It's a criminal
I
lineup.
know. How do I turn off my screen here?
I had a British person correct me and say it's McDonald's. I'm like, it's an American company. Sorry, it's McDonald's. Like, same with Nike. They say Nike, and like, it's Nike. And I'm like, it's
Oh
an
my
American
gosh.
company. It's
If people
Nike.
say Nike, I'm like, get
It's
out of here, Dyke.
Nike. That's the one.
Yeah, look at
That's
this
the
thing.
one. Oh my god, that's the one
People
I'm
got
talking
so
about.
hurt in
I
this
remember
thing. There was
that.
another one
Dude,
too.
that's the one I'm talking about. It got so fucking hot here in Tucson.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
thing
that was, yeah,
was
there was
a
taking
death
at like
trap.
100 degrees. These things would
That
like tinge your skin.
yes.
Oh my gosh, you need to just put that on a shirt
Oh
and
my
be like,
God.
we aren't the same. I survived this.
I
Dude,
survived this.
How about
At
metal
115.
slides in the desert?
At
The metal
The crazy
115
part
in the
about this
desert.
particular ride
Yeah.
is that imagine, I'm like looking at this right. Imagine that you see your kid is inside this thing hurt, like they're getting hurt. What do you do about it? Like you can't fit inside this thing. It's like this tiny little metal prison that like they're encapsulated in. So if they did get hurt,
Well, that's what would
only, like,
happen
another-
is you would sweat your ass off. You get stuck up in there and you'd sweat your ass off, and then you're like, oh, you're starting to get tired, and you're like, oh my god, it's so hot, and you just keep sweating, but you're like still playing and stuff, and then you're like, oh my god, I just I can't, and then, hey, are you okay? What? You gotta get up. Huh?
So you crawl up a tube in the center to get
In the
in?
tube.
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's all
center,
metal.
yeah.
It's
And an
all
adult
metal.
can't get you.
And there's like a ladder inside there, and people would
Yeah.
fall. They would like be leaving the inside part to climb back down and miss like a step and just fall down those metal stairs. And I just remember people getting straight, like it was like,
smacking your shin on those things.
dude, like people were getting like wrecked
Yeah,
by this
dude.
thing. I can't understate like how bad this thing was. There was like a legend about this thing.
I'm so glad somebody else understands.
No, I'm trying to find a picture of the park I grew up in my town because it had one of those in the center of it. Whatever, I'll just tell you about it. It had one of those in the center of it where you still crawled up the center, but it was like 2.5 stories, 3 stories tall.
Was it a swirly slide?
Yeah, like a swirly tube slide that you went down that was also metal. That was hot
Yeah.
as anything. But the favorite part of my playground is it had a World War II plane in it, just crashed in
Oh,
it,
shit.
like part of the thing. And then the cockpit was filled in with cement, and then all the glass and sharp metal was sanded down. And it was part of the playground. Like we just crawled all over this plane and sat in the plane and did whatever. But it's crazy thinking back that no, we actually played on just like a train grave or a plane grave. Like it was a real plane. I think a museum came and got the plane eventually. They were like, I think it's the last remaining of these planes, and they found out that this playground had it, and we were like, what? And came and got it.
Oh, wow. Huh.
How dare you be fascinated with history
dare-
as an adult, you
Yeah.
know, an American child? We're gonna take that from you. You got to be paying for this.
Yeah,
we
this is
get it.
the
We got to
last
make it
one.
boring.
But the thing about those tubes that I remember, they were hot as anything. You crawled up like essentially now we would have been crawling a power line without any kind of clipping in and up a straight up metal ladder. And then the inside of those things, I just always remember smelled like human piss.
They always smelled like piss. But then we had like the slide one, and it was
Or
so
vomit.
high up, but it had a circle up at the top where you could hide. So we'd hide from the teachers up there. Like boys and girls were sitting up there kissing and stuff like that, but not going down the slide. It's like a battlement, kind of like a crow's nest.
Yeah, crow's nest would be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And they put that cage around it because they were like, these daredevils, and sure as shit, we sure as shit did.
We
would
didn't
figure
have
out
a
way
cage
to
around
get
ours.
ours were just lines, so we would figure out a way to get out and on it. And now thinking back, I'm like, poor parents. Like no wonder they took away all this metal weird playground equipment. They couldn't give us anything without us taking it to the next level. Like we were
How
like,
about the
let's get on it.
merry-go-rounds? The merry-go-rounds,
Yeah,
like
like
teachers and kids holding on and like almost like going around, like only their arms are holding on. They're falling off.
and those were made of metal too. They were
my
made
God,
of
dude,
metal.
Oh,
the best
man, the
thing ever,
merry-go-rounds.
though. Oh,
They
And
were
they were on
awesome.
bearings. So it was just like they went fast.
Yep.
Like there was no, however fast you
Oh,
could
yeah.
push it, that merry-go-round could take it. And the weird part about those merry-go-rounds when they were still around, me and my friends, up until when they were around, there could be like 10 of us, like drunk, and like when we were like 18 and find one of those merry-go-rounds and all pile on it. Get the same speed, maybe faster as adults, in the same until it eventually the centrifugal force is just like you, you just fly off. But it was just like no matter what, that merry-go-round could take it.
You've seen, I mean, I remember at least one or two times that I saw in real life someone take like their dirt bike and just stick the rear tire up to that sideways and just spin that and see how long people could hang on to it.
I have seen those on TikTok. I have something. I don't know what video it is, but something gets a ding, and I feel like it's one of those little cartoons. One of those little cartoons gets a ding every time I play it.
What do you mean?
Like a musical
really?
ding on it. Like I don't know if it's the background, like the doom, 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 doom. I just remembered to tell you it. I know it's an off-air thing I should have said. But I'm like, I'm gonna forget to say it every time. So I'm like,
you mean like a copyright ding?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like,
see, we can replace the little intro and outro music.
yeah, whatever the doop doop. Like if it's just that weird, whatever the background, have AI make you
It's
a new
like
one.
it's like, how dare you use this 1.5 second audio clip in a 4.5, 5 hour video? We're gonna go ahead and take credit for all that.
That's exactly what they do.
The only
It's
reason
so
anyone's
clever.
watching this whole stream is to hear that 1.5 second clip of audio.
This is kind of what I think, though, is why you would want as Sony Michael Jackson's musings, because it's not any of the actual songs, but if the 1.5 second clips get shattered and shattered and shattered and shattered to all the songs, and I can copyright it, then nothing can ever be made without them owning it or taking some part of the ownership for it. That's the like weird part, is when that mixes with AI, because they have all of theirs. And if it's just like they can pull 20 seconds now of a song and say, that's ours, that's ours, that's ours. And then it's like, how many beats like if everything under the sun, how are you even going to create a new 3-second beat that they don't already own? I don't know.
Well, this has already been kind of hashed out and not in anyone's favor except for the recording companies. But I remember like one of the first big sample cases was Biz Markie, and he sampled like a horn, and it's like less than a second long, and the court determined that it was like copyright infringement, and there was like a whole issue about that. But the long story short of that is that there is no set length. I've heard people say this, and like, because I made music professionally for a very long time in the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of sample-based music, and there was always these like rumors that, oh well, if you use it for less than 3 seconds, or if you do all these different things, and none of those were true. There's one that's true, and that's the transformative, and that's that you have to change it by like 80%, or I can't remember the exact percentage.
Exactly.
Even that is very subjective. Like you have to find yourself in court with the jury for somebody to actually be determining if it's 70 or 80%. But that kind of proved that,
and it's hard to determine.
But that means that a record company can own like a half a second clip of audio indefinitely and be able to sue you for that for 70 years after the artist dies, right? And
So
like
they own,
there's
like, the
only
note
so
of
many
8? That's so
variations of
fucking
what you
weird.
can do in half of a second.
That was an A minor.
That's the goal, I think, eventually, is that then you can't muse anything. Like
Well-
you won't be able to create anything with a song attached.
But you could use AI like in a very practical sense to generate every possible variation of a half a second clip, and then have a company. There's actually a huge for anyone that does independent music publishing, there's kind of like a big deal going on right now that a company called TuneCore, and I think DistroKid, but TuneCore, they're one of these companies that you can use that'll help you get your music on Spotify and iTunes and all the big channels, right? But because of the advent of AI music, there's this like little fine print that was apparently in the terms of service. And in the TuneCore terms of service, it states that if you use some kind of sample-based music or anything that potentially could lead to them having to defend it in court, there's just a straight up $300 charge. And in order to use TuneCore, you got to have your credit card on file with the company. So recently, like anyone that was using Suno or any of these other AI software, they're starting to get flagged as sample based. And so now TuneCore was just like automatically subtracting $300 from people. So if you went and you uploaded an AI album with like 20 songs, you would wake up the next day with like a $6,000 bill because it was $300 for every one of those infractions with like no real way of recourse. So this is getting into that area where like AI is starting to change how like the legal aspect of music registration works.
And then they're like, sorry, this is AI, and you have to have a human attorney to try to fight a new AI thing. And that human attorney is using ChatGPT to write there. Like, what world is this right now? I know. I think music's important. It must be like important because even the way we learn quicker, where if you can't learn something, people are like, put it in a song. So it's like, of course the AI wants this, and commercials want this, and brainwashing techniques want this.
As a English teacher, they had this really cool like website called Vocabulary, and they would make songs about everything and shit. Point of view, first and third person, man. I'd always play this vocabulary video. It's like hip hop, and my students always got it. Like it's so easy, the easiest thing to teach with music, with beats.
Is everything about Morgan Spurlock just part of the zeitgeist like script? Like nothing about him was organic. He's just entirely astroturf.
Well, I think he might have astroturfed himself. Like he knew what the formula was, or he observed it and just applied the formula. So he might not have ever been like a real person. But I don't know if he was like handpicked by elites and groomed into being that one of those. He just was a really good grifter, and he knew how to grift sort of like the documentary aspect of society.
I always think kind of like the Casey Neistats and the like, you know, even maybe Morgan Spurlock, because he was like one of these first video camera guys. I equate them to like Joe Rogan or Howard Stern, where they picked what ones were going to be the Mr. Beast. Because there is nothing about Mr. Beast that's attractive. He looks like he has stripper eyes. He's dead behind the eyes. I can't imagine he's attractive to gay men or females. Like I know I'm just like, what? And he's everywhere. He's like, this is his channel that we're all on right now. And it's like kind of crazy that I just don't believe that's organic. But that's kind of I'm just paranoid. I'm
Do you think he's really out in Africa building wells?
Who?
Have you seen any of those? So the new thing with Mr. Beast is that he's got all these clips with him going around to like 80 different places in Africa and like drilling wells for these communities and stuff. And his line is kind of like, it's not that much money. Like with the resources that Mr. Beast has can bring all of this fresh water. Why can't other people with way more resources? And I'm just wondering if that's part of the plot and what part of the plot that is.
Yeah, or if it's like we don't know it yet, but in the zeitgeist of like an actor-based reality, we still, because we're old, that we still have an idea of a Hollywood actor-based reality, when the actor-based reality is going to be so much so that they're just normal people like you and me with a podcast, and they just become Mr. Beast. So it becomes this like, you can do it too, but then the following, like the real, not whatever, the Antichrist idea won't be somebody from the traditional politics or Hollywood like we've always thought. It would more likely be somebody that, look at Mr. Beast is curing the cancer, and Mr. Beast is feeding the world, and Mr. Beast is doing this. Like it would be a clue. And look at, he even calls himself Mr. Beast.
Yes, even the name is like softening the whole beast aspect of this. And also there's like a weird like perverted Ouroboros going on where Mr. Beast is seen as this altruistic saint that's going to Africa and providing drinking water to these poor African communities, the same African communities that are sending their children off to mine cobalt by hand and like die when they're 20 or 30 to then create the devices which are then used to consume all the Mr. Beast content. So like if the kids in Africa stop spending all their time mining cobalt for the smart devices, then Mr. Beast would lose all of his money and he wouldn't be able to make the wells, but they maybe wouldn't need the wells because they could, you know what I mean? It's like this weird,
maybe yeah.
Like,
Ouroboros of like spreading a gift called democracy.
Right.
Like this beautiful gift called democracy. I know, but it just feels like something about it. And then like we're all watching it like, look at this. Presidents suck. Governments suck. They can feed water. Like we all should go there. Cameras need to be there. And in a way, in these African villages, now that there's all these cameras there, I would argue that it's kind of like My Octopus Teacher, where would they be better off without the cameras there and everyone watching and the technology? Like, no, he saved her. He saved her though. Did he save her?
There was a similar narrative when was it Katrina? There was a recent flood, well I say recent, but within the last 2 decades I guess. But it was like FEMA couldn't go in, but you know who could go in? Sean Penn. Sean Penn's in there. He's like out
you know
saving
what?
people.
It was well, Sean Penn did really help out in Haiti with the Clintons. His name always has to be brought out, but he also is the one who captured El Chapo. Mr. Guzman. He's also, thank you, Sean Penn. If not for that actor-based reality, because isn't it so funny that even like these silly dictators like North Korea, but he really loves American basketball, so he will sit with Dennis Rodman. Like these people that'll never be seen by anyone, but then we like our heads are like, well, of course, though, he likes basketball.
You know, just imagine though that's the one American that North Korea actually accepted and kind of praised. So there's a very real chance that the entire population of Korea looked at Dennis Rodman and were like, that's America. Like this guy represents all of America. And that's kind of cool that like somebody thinks that I'm like Dennis Rodman in some way. Like an entire country of Koreans think that I'm as cool as Dennis Rodman.
here's another idea on a parallel timeline. There is an actual chance that the only reason that Donald Trump could step over sandbags into North Korea is because an apprentice named Dennis Rodman bargained that to happen.
Oh, I 100% believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Like the next level idea of The Apprentice, because I always think Joan Rivers was an apprentice. Like when you look at the TV shows and like certain things, if everything was recorded and these certain people, I'm like, who better than Dennis Rodman? Like he literally, it was a basketball player that came out of nowhere. Like I feel like he was 10 years older than everybody else he played with. He was just like, I'm a great rebounder. I'm not even going to try to be the best shooter.
Yeah, he was a janitor.
Yeah, he
at an
came out of
airport, I
nowhere.
think, or a museum or something. I think an airport. Yeah,
I
he
laughed
was
at that
older.
night. I'll be right back.
But
The
back to the
worm.
whole Africans thing, like, did you guys ever watch that episode of South Park where they call the Sally Fields number and they adopt an Ethiopian?
Starvin' Marvin.
Yes! Oh my god, that was like the funniest freaking episode.
Do you
Starvin'
think,
Marvin.
okay, here's the other thing too. Like if the Simpsons are part of the evil day and they don't predict anything, they just put it in our face ahead of time because they have like the script. Is somewhere South Park, could they be mocking the Simpsons to wake us up to the other narrative? And if you catch on, cool, but it's like that's the where we're not going to mock you with the future. We're actually going to tell you what's going on right now. Where everybody's
And you're
like,
gonna think
gosh, South Park's on it.
I
even
think
where you're
all
like,
animations.
yeah, really, you could go there, all animations, because I don't know if you guys have watched, I don't even know the fucking names
But
of
do you
them
think
anymore.
they're all owned?
Well, look at the other good example of this is Family Guy, where they had all the Kevin Spacey references like a decade before anything came out. Just like South Park had a bunch of Puff Daddy references a decade ago. So I don't know if they're on the in, so they get to hear the rumors. So I think originally some of these things that get leaked out in these Simpson episodes or South Park, whatever, they're kind of like inside jokes. It's like, oh wow, they were at that party too. They heard that story about how Puff Daddy did X, Y, and Z, and that's their way of saying like we've got inside industry credentials. You know what I mean? Like we can hang and we know all the cool stories. And then when it comes out later, it's because like anything that is known esoterically becomes exoterically known in Hollywood after like a decade or two, because now there's like capital that can be used by spilling that rumor, but it's old enough that you can kind of spill it and you don't get kicked out of the club for the new rumors coming out. And I think that that's what Simpsons and South Park and Family Guy is all about. Like it's less predictive programming and more of proof. Like, yeah, I get invited to these cool parties. I know about this insider stuff.
But I have to be
So
real honest. You can find me at least a decade ago recorded on Facebook, on MySpace, some saying Puff Daddy, the same shit I say now. It's not insider stuff. Like I feel like Dick Gregory. I always tell people go back and listen to Dick Gregory. There isn't anything about the hip hop industry that is new. I'm just waiting for everybody to catch up to fucking Dick Gregory. Sorry, go on,
Well, but
Happy.
we get the sacrificial lambs so that you don't have to look into Dick Gregory. You're like, oh, they got him. They got Puff Daddy. So that problem solved now. Let's move on to
yeah,
the next problem.
No,
no,
Dick Gregory is the dude who's always been saying it. He was like the George Carlin comedian. He's like an old comedian that came up with like Bill Cosby and shit. And he pretty much, if before everybody talks about the boule and stuff now and they only attach it to Larry Gators. It's like it became kind of a thing that was just like the first part of breaking up all the etymology was like Larry Gators doing it. But way back when, if you look into Dick Gregory, he's been recorded as long as Aaron Russo's been recorded saying this stuff, which it's like Aaron Russo is the OG interview that Alex ever did. And that's the guy that directed the movie Trading Places, which if you look at the movie Trading Places, the whole entire thing's a conspiracy based on a dollar bet between banker brothers, which
Yeah,
it's like
his documentary was wild. The Aaron Russo one. It was like the road to treason, or I can't remember the exact name of it, but He claims to have had a personal discussion with David Rockefeller that like invited him to join the Illuminati in like no uncertain terms. He clearly says that he was invited to join this like elite group in order to subvert American culture through his movies. And I think that he's one of the only people that seemed rational at the time to make these sweeping claims like that. And then he turns up dead shortly after this all comes out.
And he also is in an interview being like, they told me they're going to do, like, this is why Alex Jones is the predictor of 9/11. It's the one thing people give him kudos for is because Aaron Russo interview, he's like, they said they're going to have this huge event and everybody's going to be so scared and it's going to make it so they can go into the Middle East and they're going to slowly dismantle it so they can push in this new, it's like everything that happens after 9/11, but Aaron Russo gives it in this interview, but before then it's this unknown event because he gives this interview before 9/11, 2001. I think it's like a 1999 interview with Aaron Russo. But you can put in that guy's name with Alex Jones. And I don't even think Alex Jones is on camera at all. You just hear his voice. It's just Aaron Russo. And then I actually think it might be he has a deathbed interview because I think he's dying of cancer. And that's why he says all this shit. He's like, I'm fucking dying. Like, but maybe it's a second interview with Alex Jones and I'm getting it mixed up. It's been a long time. But that's one of my first, like, into the world of conspiracy videos was the Aaron Russo video. But I think the movie Trading Places was Aaron Russo, where they were probably, if the elite were watching a movie like that, they were like, what's this guy know? Because the whole thing is about like short selling orange juice with insider trading, and they convince the bankers a different story and they get the actual real story. Like the real, is Florida orange juice going to be bust or whatever? And a funny thing about it is there's hardly any such thing as Florida orange juice anymore. It's like just funny how quickly like that was our bread and butter and now we can't, it's hard. There's hardly any orange groves and people are like, oh, well, you know, houses. Nope. There's still places that they're not where the orange groves used to be. They're just dead orange groves now.
Yeah, they got devastated because of a number of reasons, but also of like the big mold or whatever the weird diseases that comes through. Because whenever I would have to do long trips from South Florida to Central Florida, you drive through those orange groves, and like one year it was just like all the trees were gone and they had to replant all of them because of this big like infestation. Like Indian River is a huge one. Like Indian River is I think where you see like some of the biggest orange plants that are still left over here.
That is my stomping grounds.
Indian River?
That's my county. We do have the best citrus, or we used to, but I always think the same way that I would convince you where you were like, oh, there's E. coli in the lettuce, or oh, look at there's chicken ganya, there's chicken virus, whatever, there's mad cow. I would say all those things are a lie, so you destroy your crops. All those things that I just told you is like some big blanket way that I'm like, look at, we found one mad cow in Europe. Kill all the cows.
If you were feeding your cow other cow, then yeah, there was actually a reason that you might have prion disease in your cows.
But think of how many times that it happens where they're like, all these pigs have this, all this blanketly has this, all this, you know, it's like, and then think about if I have a fast food chain and you have a fast food chain, how quickly I could just be like, food poisoning at Jack in the Box, and now McDonald's takes off.
The U.S. convinced Haiti to kill all their pigs back in the 60s, I think, 50s or 60s. Like every pig on the island, like 300,000 pigs or something, because of like a perceived swine flu that was going to come around. But it was wild because those pigs were one of the main natural resources, and they were giving credit to one of the first revolutions where I think in like one of the first times in history that in the Western world that like a slave revolt actually worked, and they were able to force the colonizers out of Haiti, and it was attributed to like the power they got from these pigs. So it was ironic that like a century later or so, America convinces Haiti to kill all their pigs off, or like something similar to you're talking about here.
Well, I just even thought during lockdowns, which seems to be the politically correct thing we can call it without getting taken off YouTube, during lockdowns, how many, like, it was like, oh, this one chicken, but they had to make sure all the bodies were inside for them to get the insurance claim. So that is another way that it's like you to have proof you killed your cattle, to have proof, like you have to leave all the bodies inside.
Well, this is like when you gotta cut out the UPC symbol from the side of the box to like make sure that you can only return it once, right? Or get the warranty
Yeah.
once.
If you go boa hunting in the Everglades, you just bring the head because you can only have one head. We don't need the whole body. Just bring us the heads, please. Because people were doing sketchy shit with the bodies where they were cutting them into a few, like, this is a long one. Here's two. Like, so. I don't know. I just wonder how much of it's like almost if like the news talks about it, I wonder how real it is. I even wonder where they're like, oh, so many people, they're like, I won't go on a cruise because you get sick out there. I almost am like, the news does make sure that you know that you get sick out there. And I feel like I know people that have been on 200 cruises and never been sick, never been trapped at sea, never been on all these. So I almost feel like, they don't want you
How
out
much
to sea.
air are you exposed to out at sea? Like, that's the funny thing. It's like, I don't think you're cooped up in your room the whole time.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, food poisoning can happen or these kind of things, but it's just like, so can drinking a shit ton of alcohol and throwing up.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I always wonder when they're like pushing a story, if like, even if they're like, there's a natural gas explosion in this apartment building in Brooklyn, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, they want to push solar. Like everything, I just think anything the news tells us, I'm like, why are they telling me this? I never believe it's just like, here's to
No.
inform you of something going on in the world, Chaney, because this will make your day better or you more wise.
I can't remember
Wiser.
the quote, but it was a good one that I remember the sentiment, but it was essentially that the news is more about what they're not talking about than what they are talking about. And that if you know how to spot those things every single time you see a headline that's getting all of the traction, if you identify that as like, this doesn't seem that big of a deal, then you know for a fact that there's something that is a bigger deal that's not getting that traction because there's like a finite, amount of space and time that these organizations either have on the newspaper page or on their website or the hours in the day that they can cover stuff. So every one of those extra minutes or hours that they're covering something is definitely taking the place of another thing.
I know, and so it's always fishy to me, especially when both wings of the bird fly in the same direction. So when they're like, we all hate this, we all love this. Make sure you're all paying attention to this place. And I think there's things that they weren't planning for in there. Like I really thought they thought half of our country was going to be pro-Palestine and half was going to be pro-Israel. When really I think there's some people that care about Palestine, there's some people that care about Israel, and there's a whole bunch of people that don't give a fuck. And I thought thought we were going to be invested in that and invested in Ukraine and Russia and invested in these things. And really most Americans are like, can you stop giving my tax money out? Can you start like, it's just people are getting burnt out. I don't think
Fix these
anyone
damn
gives a shit.
potholes. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of what could be America's strengths is how little we care about other countries and the default stance of being like non-interventionalist. And with that being the default stance, it's like you got to convince us to care about the rest of the world so often because our country has so much diversity and landmass that like we're already our own like we're beyond a country, right? Like we're our own planet in some regards.
Yeah,
like,
name your country. We got that here.
But if you were in Europe or something, like you can't really be non-interventionist in the EU, right? Or almost in any other country on the planet. It's sort of like a unique American stance that we can decide to just not care about something that's happening on the global stage, but that's clearly not the trajectory that every other country is kind of being taught to follow. So this is, I think, like all the Israel-Palestine, if anything, this is just getting us to like want to have opinions on something that's international more specifically, because I don't remember any major, like there was the Free Tibet thing because the Beastie Boys got all into it, right? And then this Israel-Palestine conflict has been going on since forever, but no one's cared about it. It's almost like soccer, right? Like now they're trying to push soccer on America in part of this like global expansion to where like we embrace. I swear to God, they're gonna make us call soccer football in the States, and that's when you know it's starting to get over.
It's one of the Howard
I think it
Stern things
started.
I think that even the CTE push with football, it's a big push to get
Football.
your kids to stop playing football. And there's something about American that even in the football of it all, it's rough and stuff. It's masculine and rough and stuff. And it's like they want to push us toward these gentleman sports. They don't want Americans to be like this brutal MMA
Bring the
thinking of
XFL
themselves
back,
thing.
seriously.
I think they are.
Well, I mean, in a better way.
I think for some reason they are. I feel like it's like there's something in the works with this, with the XFL.
I think
But
it would actually take off right now too because like how policed or officialed these sports are now, like all the different new rules, that are always like it's always changing. There's always something else, like new penalties, new.
Is the
It's
XFL the ones
Go on,
that
what?
kiss? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it was the WWE version of NFL.
Oh,
Like I think
okay.
Vince McMahon owned
Mike
it.
Kiss? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, maybe a character.
Yeah, like the XFL was essentially football with body slams to
Yeah.
oversimplify it.
Okay.
But I just think if like some people seemingly go mad or kill people or or whatever the things is that they relate to these things, but if you also take the percentage of the amount of men that they are, that whatever, where you're like all these men are doing this sport and this amount of percent is getting this thing, it's probably equivalent to the whole world. Or it might be some other kind of injury I can't talk about that we'll get pulled off here for. But I just don't believe in CTE because Will Smith made sure he spoke bad African so he could sell us CTE in a movie. And I don't believe that shit. I just think like, I know a whole bunch. I mean, not that it doesn't change our personalities or I don't even know. I just think humans are meant to be hit in the head.
I mean, anecdotal, but I had a personal friend in high school that killed another kid on the football field.
Whoa.
Because he tackled him so hard that like his brain hemorrhaged, like it smacked the inside. So, and I mean, like that's the whole like it's kind of like roller coasters, right? If there wasn't a real chance that you could die while doing this, then it wouldn't be fun. Like the only part that's fun is that your body's telling you like you're about to die right now. That's the whole thrill. And I think that's also the real allure of a lot of American sports, specifically football, is that like every one of those big hits and every one of those like boxing knockouts, like that could actually end somebody's life in a very real way. And that's the only part that kind of makes it interesting, which is kind of different from like these European, sports where like look at soccer, right? Or football. If you look at this, it's all about who can fake like the trip and oh, he meant to trip me and like, oh, my shin hurts now or my knee's twisted. And that almost becomes like a whole extra performance as part of the sport. But no one's really like gonna die over this unless you.
But then look at how there's not any kind of outlet of this shit now, and kids are just walking, punching random strangers on the bus. That same kid with this extra angst is just punching somebody not involved. When I would also say, no offense to the kid that died on the field, rest in peace. He might have not should have been on that field, and then maybe your friend who actually hauled him over had a real future in the sport. It's
that's the most messed up part of it is that like he couldn't shake that. Like he killed like in front and
killing somebody
up.
would be a lot, but
dude, the weirdest part because he was in 9th grade, I think. Like this was like 8th or 9th grade. So we're talking like I don't know, 12 or 13.
Wow.
But it was surreal because for the longest time, everyone would be giving him like high fives and daps, like hell yeah, bro, you're such a badass. Like you tackled so hard, you killed
you're a
somebody.
killer.
And like he didn't feel good about it, and to be constantly congratulated and people bigging him up because he fucking killed another kid.
Yeah, no one would want to kill
threw
someone.
in a crazy depression.
But also, football was played with leather helmets forever.
Yeah, it was.
and
My
it's just
stepdad
like
had some.
generation after generation, there wasn't a whole bunch of CTE. Like kids fall out of trees, babies get just dropped by their moms on accident. Like we were talking about metal slides, we were talking about like from pogo balls to jump rope to just running and tripping and falling. Like the amount that people hurt themselves, but they just don't hurt themselves anymore in this bubble wrapped society that we're in. So I feel like the idea now of like, do you know how much we used to skateboard and literally fall and you were blacked out, and like how much maybe
Even
like
riding your bike without a helmet, you know, like
it was just a normal thing for you to ride your bike everywhere. You might fall over, you might hit your crotch on it, you might just fall over and knock yourself out. It was just something that, not that it is great, but I just feel like there's this over coddling of everything because everyone might get hurt, everyone might get a stitch, everyone might get a thing. Lather yourself in sunscreen, put this huge helmet on your head while you do everything. Make sure your baby, this has to be clipped because your baby might hang itself, and this has to be done
even
because it's like
softball
Jesus.
pitchers, like Chaney, when you were a catcher, did the pitchers wear freaking face masks?
No, you might
I
break
know. I'm
your
like, the
nose.
fuck? I was a fucking pitcher. I didn't wear no fucking face mask.
Oh, is that mandatory now?
Yeah, I think so. They all wear them.
Just the amount of stuff that I just am like, yes, should everybody
I've
be
taken
out
line
there
dives.
with barbarians? No, if you're not a barbarian, maybe you should play a gentleman's sport like football. But even maybe, and then if you look at soccer for real, if I fucking breathe on you wrong on soccer, a grown man will cry on the floor. That's soccer. That's the society they want us moving into.
And the NBA too.
Where
I was
like if
gonna
you're
say basketball, you see a lot of flopping on the floor too.
A lot of flopping.
sometimes in basketball though, I feel like they don't get, if you watch that shit in slow motion, you're like, God damn, like they take full elbows. Like what happens
No.
inside those things? I'm
Yeah.
like, holy
For sure.
shit. And
But
they don't,
college,
that fouls
especially
don't
college
even get called
basketball.
on it. Or where I'm
Yeah.
like, gosh, like a ref would stop that in an MMA fight. Like it's like some of the stuff that and they don't have anything on. They're wearing like a leotard. But that's all. I think professional sports and shit is all fixed. But I just think
is.
there's this like, I think I just would rather my son hold this iPad instead of go play football because concussion, that movie from Will Smith. And it's just like, oh my gosh. I just think boys need to be roughened up a little.
I grew up with one of the original
Toughen
X
up.
Games motocross kids, and he when he was 12, he had a dark hair and he had a patch of white hair that just grew right in the front of his head from so many concussions from his motorbike.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But
He created the
motorbike
Dead
kids
Man.
too.
Dead Man was
Yeah.
his stunt.
Man. What?
Isn't it wild that we live in a world that they care so much about your kid's concussions, but not so much about telling your kid about transgender behind closed doors of a guidance counselor? Like, this is why I know they don't give a fuck. Like, and there isn't any modern medicine. Like, we live in a place just so some other man can shut an office door with your kid behind it. So I'm just studying his brain in here. Like, it's just wild to me. We're in just a weird place where it's just trust upon trust that, and if you have the right insurance, then we'll test your kid's brain. Like, it's just
They will refill their
wild.
prescription.
And then if they have the right insurance, we'll give them something we're not allowed to talk about on this channel without getting pulled down out of a whole different refrigerator than if they don't have that insurance. And that's real life. Like, that's real life. Anyway. Triggered. I did find out today though that really getting triggered got rid of my migraine, and I was like, adrenaline. I've tried working out through them before,
Adrenaline.
and it doesn't help. But because I thought I could trigger my own adrenaline, but working out isn't adrenaline. And so I was like, I remember one time losing my migraine because I was scared, like something happened, like maybe Jules cut herself or something, and I had to like help her like bandage it up, and it was just like a rush for a minute, and I was like, oh my gosh, my migraine's gone. So I was like, gosh, some way I need to be like, I have a migraine. Thomas, will you jump out? Like, will you act like fake, like mug me today?
Yeah, I was gonna say, or like have someone do like a cop knock at your front door or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I need this kind
Somebody
of thing.
pull a gun on you.
Like,
in
I
your
was
face.
wrecked. I was
I mean,
wrecked.
I mean, there's a like Ozempic is something that it triggers a certain feeling in your body that makes you feel like you've eaten already or like you're full. I think that's like one of the aspects of it. But there should be
Meth does that too, though.
right, and well, I guess meth is a good example of something that would introduce adrenaline into your body. Cocaine would be another good
Yeah.
example. I think that's not cortisol; that would be straight up adrenaline. But there's other than
People that I
actually
know
having
that have taken
EpiPen.
Ozempic say they feel like garbage. Like, that's the whole thing is they feel sick kind of the whole time. That's why they don't eat.
Really?
And the whole thing about it, because I'm so anti this Ozempic push because one, it makes women extra fertile. And so they don't have proper nutrients in their body. Most of the people that would shove Ozempic into them would shove the thing we're not allowed to talk about this channel without getting pulled down into them as well. And so who knows what kind of reproduction they're doing, just future little forever patients. And so it also, you're not giving your body enough calories that you're not losing weight. The scale's changing because your muscles are atrophying. So you're getting the exact same weight loss that a cancer patient's getting. You're not getting healthy weight loss.
And
You're
that's I'm
fucking
sorry, guys,
losing your
that's
ass
not
cheeks.
extra skin. Like, I see so many fat people are like, "Oh, I have all this extra skin." No, that's your body fat. You've lost muscle mass. Like, that you could actually I've seen people lose over 100 pounds and they don't have the big old floppy skin. It tightens up.
No, it
That's
tightens up.
It
It
does.
totally tightens
It's
up.
body
Like
fat. So
this
if it's
is
hanging, you have
gone, and
fat in there.
it will
Yeah.
change too.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes away.
But also Ozempic, I just read an article, like, Ozempic use in kids is up 600%. And this is, like,
Why?
people under the age of 18.
Why?
Well, because
Because
obesity
they're
is
the
an
same
epidemic.
obesity, yeah.
Oh
And it
my
probably is all an injury of something we're not allowed to talk about in this channel. And it all is also all these chemicals that they're putting into the food in all
Our
the
fast
ways,
food
but they
nation.
can't put
Yeah.
all those chemicals into your food if you're hunting it and growing it or knowing the hunter or grower or farmer yourself, but they can if it's Beyond Burger.
But,
It's
like,
the same.
here, Oklahoma's one of the fattest states, okay? But, you know how many families I know that their kids are in every single sport, they're gone they travel too. There's no freaking little leagues. Everybody does traveling teams. So, they're traveling 4 or 5 nights a week, and then so fast food is what they do, right? Everybody's fat, even though the kids are working out all the time. Like, it's it is,
They're
it's a lot of
drinking
the
Coke on the
chemicals.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Or
More or
Gatorade
less.
or Powerade, which is like got even
Right.
more sugar than Coke, right? I remember that was the go-to drink in every
right now.
sport that I ever played growing up. It was always Gatorade.
It was always Gatorade.
But
Mhm.
Still
Gatorade is
is.
like worse than soda most of the time.
Yep.
I had to take a sip of Coke. I said the word Coke and I was like,
I
oh my
had it.
gosh, I have the worst Coke addiction right now.
I just drank a Gatorade.
Me too. Just season.
If I'm even hanging out in a normal situation and everyone's like, do you want anything? Do you want anything? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Do you want water, Sunny D, purple stuff? I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, do you want Coke? And I'm like,
Oh.
I'm fine. I have my water. And then I'm like 20, I'm just thinking about it and every other thought until I get some of that delicious
That
Coke.
addiction.
And I remember,
Dixon.
like, every time when I don't have the Coke addiction in life, which is a majority of my life, it is one of those addictions that I fondly think about. Like even cigarettes. Like I fondly think about cigarettes. I'm like, what age will it be that I just allow myself to smoke? Like when I turn 80, I'm gonna be a smoker. I'm gonna be the worst little granny with cigarettes all the time. I'm gonna smoke them if I got them. And that's kind of what I think about. Like what age will I be that I give myself this
I don't
thing?
really miss smoking that much. I miss there were certain like very specific ritualistic smokes, like after like a really good meal or after like a really good something, like those ones in
Yeah.
particular. But like the actual like always smoking constantly, I remember being irritated because like I'm trying to do something, but I've got this like burning ember in my
Yeah.
hand, or I'm like trying to, and it's like the smoke gets in your eyes. Like I remember way more of those like frustrating moments than I do of like the good ones. And also every time you like start smoking again after a break, at least me, like I'll get sick as hell for like the first pack or so, and then you get over it and then you're back into it. But like I have just no desire to start smoking again because of all that.
I have been, I've had periods in life. I always thought if I smoked again, I was going to forever be a smoker. But I actually have had little stints since I've quit cigarettes where, not even stints, where it was a night where I was sitting with someone. I was like, let me have one of those cigarettes.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
smoked, and I was like, oh my, but I used to not be one of those people. I used to be like, if I ever smoked a cigarette, I was a smoker again. But that's how Coke is. I knew when I drank the first one, like, ooh, it's gonna be that thing again
Yep.
where we have to do that horrible dance, and it takes me forever to get away from. I can't quit you.
I've been on these lately. Like I didn't think I could give up coffee, but I'm like not liking coffee as much anymore, and I'm drinking these in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, they're so good.
Oh, I
If I
love
had facial
coffee.
hair, I would play with it so much. I feel like it would
I would
tickle
too.
my nose.
I'd be doing
But
the
I feel
same
like my
thing.
real facial hair would be like so like it wouldn't just keep coming out in my hands or keep tickling my well, I know it tickles your nose and stuff,
I
but
don't know
oof,
because I think nose hairs usually grow into mustache, right?
I would do
It's
this.
both.
Well, you gotta
Yeah,
do a
I
little
always have like
grooming.
the mustache start growing upwards,
Yeah.
and that's when you know it's getting bushy.
If my
When you
dad
get
was bored in a
tickles.
conversation, he did this. That was when he wasn't even thinking about a word you were saying anymore. Like if all of us were talking and my dad was like, he would be like chewing on
He's
the tip
zoning
of
out.
his mustache. He wasn't there anymore. My mustache isn't long enough to do that yet. I keep it real trim, but I think if I had a real mustache, I would keep it all the way off my lip.
Yeah,
It's
no, that's
kind of
definitely
hard
the
when
real move.
yeah, you gotta groom that because like it's too tempting to get that little trigger to like kind of chew on that thing
Oh,
when
I
you're bored, you
couldn't.
know?
Oh, I would
Okay.
never be tempted. That's kind of gross. That
Nope.
would freak me out. If it
What do you
gets
guys?
too long, sometimes like
It gets
I'll
too
just be
long.
eating food and like a little
Yeah.
bit gets in and it always feels like there's somebody else's hair in my food and then like it's a total turn off.
Have you
What do
ever
you guys think about?
burned it on a smoke, burned
What
it
do you
on
think
a
about?
smoke and smelled it forever?
What do
Sorry.
you think
Go
about
ahead.
beard straighteners? What do you have you like? Do you know anybody who
I've
straightens their
done it.
beard?
I had one and it works a little bit because I mean
I've
mine
got
was
one of
It's
these
pretty
ones.
curly.
Like the
Mine's
little it's like
pretty
a little
curly.
curling iron thing.
Yeah, it's a flat
Yeah,
iron. Yeah.
flat
Well,
iron.
because that I when I
It
first heard
works.
about that, like I was like, "What are you talking about? You actually straighten your beard?" Like I thought it was the weirdest thing, but then I'm like,
It's not as much of
it's
a
not that weird.
It's not
straightener,
that
but it's like to prevent it looking from like a big like steel
right.
wool pad
Yeah.
that's been like all frizzled
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Like you're never gonna straighten the actual unless you put like actual treatment in it, like a
It's
perm. You know
so
what I mean?
weird to talk,
When
to
I
hear
used
about
to,
guys' grooming habits versus girls,
the soap company, the body care company, we had this body frosting and it was amazing. And some random dude, one of the dudes of the wives, like he put some in his beard and he didn't tell his wife and he would use it every day as his like beard conditioner in his beard, and so he had the best beard. And so one day he finally came into the soap shop and was like buying it all the time, and he asked for a specific flavor like that. They were like, no, we don't make that, we only did that for, and he's like, oh, because everything's kind of a lady scent. And he's like, and they were like, why? And he's like, I use it for my beard. Like it was his little secret. He didn't tell any other men about it. It was like his own, like he had this perfect beard stuff. And it was just this body frosting. And so it always made me think like pretty much their body frosting was all the butters that were like cocoa butter and shea butter and like the most natural butters, but it was all whipped. Now whipped stuff has I told them back when, who
That's what
cares
I
about
do.
patenting your name? I was like, patent this frosting and the whippness of it. This is way back when. Now every company whips shit. And I was like, the whipping of this is the like that's the thing. And so it's like it's just this whipped butter, and you just use a little bit of it because it's also the butters break down and they're kind of oily and they soak in. But I'm like, all guys should use this on their beard. So that's go down the black lady aisle of their skincare and you'll see like shea butter, cocoa butter, and like
Oh yeah.
90%
argan
black.
oil.
Yeah, like black ladies It's like their secret. They don't tell white ladies about it because we are ashy as fuck. We just can't see that we're ashy because we're so pale. But the second you get a tan, you're like, dang, I look like I've been kicking flour. And that's because you need some butters. Like the rest of your body, you can lotion it, but the parts that the sun hit all the time, it needs real shit. So you got to get the butters. And so when you're down in the South, all your black girlfriends will let you know, girl, you can't get any of that watered down lotion because all the lotion is, when you look at the ingredients, water will be the first ingredient of it. It's all
No,
watered
it's
down.
it's the
You need
easiest thing to
thick.
do for yourself. All you do is get like a big old chug of that African shea butter at the farmer's market. Get rosemary and orange, or that pine resin oil that I got from Michelle was really good. But whip all that stuff with tea tree oil and stuff like that. Just
We need to have
figure
Michelle
out
on again soon.
whatever kind of mixes you want to do it. But you can whip that shit yourself just with a popsicle stick and a tin, and just do it
You could just
yourself.
whip
And
that shit yourself with a
whip
popsicle
it yourself.
stick.
You don't need no whipping
You don't need one of
package
those
and whipping
fucking
machines.
whippers.
Those newfangled whipping machines.
You can just do that with a popsicle stick.
All you need is a good popsicle stick and a
Do I
tin
sense
can.
a Secret Society Good Guys Gordy beard lather special?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we need a beard oil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to start
Easy.
this is it too, because
Easy.
if we're
Done.
gonna have a hangout in October, we have to have some merch too for our table.
Yeah.
And so now it's time to prepare. And our merch,
Mhm.
everybody else is gonna have their stuff with it, like their Nephilim and their aliens and we just have to be a little stupider than that. Around here in the Secret Society, we just gotta be a little dumber than that. So like this is where you can get Gordy's beard oil with your very own popsicle stick.
Dude, the owl mask, you can make a killing, bro.
Yeah, the
Just set up an owl
Gordy's
mask.
Owl
owl
masks.
mask. Oh my gosh, that would be so great if we could get, remember how when you would go to McDonald's or Burger King, you could get the crown at Burger King, but at McDonald's they had the weird paper mask you could poke the eyes out of. We should get those, but it's all Gordy's owl made, that you just have the cheap plastic piece on the back, and it's just paper, but it's just the Secret Society of Good Guys, but it's just that one mask. So when we're on and we look out at the audience, we can take a picture and it's all Gordy's mask. And then that way
Oh,
we have some proof when we're starting our church later that these are occult meetups.
I do have a connection to a company that makes the face masks, because I've been wanting to make when we did the Hillary, or I think we did like the serial killer episode, and I was looking everywhere for a paper Hillary Clinton mask, and they just either they didn't exist or they were charging like $20 for a freaking piece of paper. And I found out there's like 1 or 2 companies that specialize in making actual face masks of like real celebrities. And it's exactly what you'd expect, like a piece of cardboard with little holes cut out. But like they don't really exist. They're hard to come by. So, I mean, I think that we could make an easy, like, cornering the market on paper mask of like Epstein and Ghislaine and like anyone that wasn't in like the
that's a
top
great idea.
100 celebrities, like actual cult leader masks and stuff. No one's making those.
And in the same way of the punk rock style, we can get the masks printed and sit there and hang out and smoke some joints one night and staple rubber bands on
Yeah,
both sides that are a
100%.
certain length.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
have no problem. I don't need to get stuff like in the company. That's the way most companies work, but you don't have to buy everything or get it private labeled. And that's what I love so much about Thomas's shit is he's like from scratch. Like so much of it is art toys. Like they're made, like it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna pull this thing in that I bought all here and I'm gonna put this that I bought here, some of that, but then it's all treated and extra and put together by you. It's not like, nope, I didn't get this all created at Alibaba.
I'd love to get my own printer pretty soon here. I've had my eye on like a professional, like a legit printer, so I could just start doing more like one-offs and like small little limited batches like that.
Gordy's owl mask, like, because this is the other thing too. We might have some merch that we give away, some stickers that we give away, but it would be kind of fun for anyone that purchased something. We gave them a free owl mask, and it could have a couple barcodes on the other side that's on their thing. Like all the advertisement could be on the side toward them of how to find our podcast or whatever. But I just think that owl mask in production, like even if we had like 50 of them. Even if they're, because even people that never even heard of us before would be like, "What's that? I want one."
Dude, what?
Like that table's giving them away. Like Thomas has the
Limited
comics
edition.
over there. He has the owl masks too. So then by the time we went on, there'd be all these random owl masks. Some of the people wouldn't even know what they for. But when Gordy comes out and sings the Secret Society of Good Guys theme with his owl mask on, everyone will know what it's for. It's time. Because everybody else will just go on stage, but Gordy's gonna plug in his guitar to give us our proper intro.
I need a gong at some point.
And it would be appropriate if Gordy's owl mask, there would be like, how did you get your owl mask? They'd think he was a soothsayer ahead of time. Like, we just all have these paper owl masks. People would be thinking next year when I come to this, I'm going to make my own owl mask.
Yes. And then there'd be like a owl con.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it just
they'll all
flips
be
to
a
this.
cosplaying. Everybody's cosplaying
Well,
as
you
owls,
don't
and
understand, and
that's
it
how
will.
the
It'll
cult
all
starts.
unfold. But the owl leans into this so fucking perfectly as far as merch goes that you have no idea. Like when it all unfolds later on, but I feel like the owl mask goes with everything. Like the owl mask could become the face of this event. Like legitimately, it could be on the poster.
Gordy did the whole theme song. Just saying.
I did. You know what's really fun about that
with
thing
help
is,
from Aunt Chaney with lyrics.
Yes, no, this was
music.
I do want to talk about this because this was like a 3-month conversation with Chaney. Like this wasn't like something that came up out of it came up like within 3 days, I think, of just recording it. Once I had it figured out, but it was like conversations with Chaney about what we wanted this to be and how we wanted our intentions to be in the song. So it was a long conversation with you, Chaney, and like, what do we want?
I kind of thought it was like Gordy was a good tattoo artist in a way of creating a song that it was like in an AI way. If I was like, here's all these lyrics and here's what I hear. And then he actually did it, like his AI version that he gave me back. This is why human is so much better than AI, was like, that's like way better than I thought it was going to be. And you did it exactly. It's not like I have to like sacrifice and be like, huh, a computer came up with that. It was like, oh, a human touched it. And it was like, and one silly part is I was like, I want like Andy Kaufman, where he's like, here I come to save the day with surf rock feeling in it. Like he got the like Mighty Mouse and surf rock. And I don't know, you can't, if you get music and hear it in there, but then little geeky things that he played with his guitar and found a sound. And then because I love the song Sledgehammer, the beginning of the song is like, wee, wee, wee. Like you can hear it, but only if you know that song. And so I just love that little geeky shit too. Yeah, it's very intentional. The Secret Society of Good Guys theme that should be on Spotify and iTunes and stuff, but Gordy will have to get her. Thomas will show Gordy how to do that.
Okay.
The Ballad of the Good Guys.
Of the Good Guys. What's really fun about that too is like
and maybe the Can You Save Us, Britney Spears, Can We Be Saved should actually be the beginning of the song.
Okay.
I like that.
That's a good idea.
I mean, there's no reason we couldn't just have like a full album.
We can do
Secret Society Good
we
Guys.
have different versions too.
Yeah. I'm into a full album. And would people might not buy albums anymore. You have to do them with like a barcode and download this here. I
don't know. I mean, cassettes are making a little bit of a comeback. So
I was just gonna say,
cool, like a limited press of 20 to 50 cassettes recorded and everything. That would be kind of dope.
Where would you listen to them? What would you listen to them on?
Your grandparents, your great grandparents, boombox.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
boombox.
That old Maverick.
I know. Out
The
of
only
everything
the
that I
only
have, I don't
car
have a
that
tape player.
I don't have a tape player.
Well, a lot of people they'll get Walkmans. They're like if you go and look up the
Oh.
classic Sony Walkman, like the tape player, not the CD player version.
Yeah.
They're actually going for a premium again.
Or how much do you think for a 45, like a small record that had a thing on both sides?
Substantially more, unless you're okay with it being
Vinyl.
lower quality acetate as opposed to like a full-on vinyl pressing. If you're going, so I've actually looked into this very recently.
Uh-huh.
So cassette tapes, if you're doing small batch, you can expect to pay between like $2 to $5, and if you're doing vinyl, you can probably expect to pay like around 20 to 25 for small batch. Once you get in like a big batch for vinyl would be 200 to 500. Then you might get closer to like 15, 10. Whereas cassette tapes, if you get over 50, now you're gonna look at like $2 or less, and that's including like a custom printed J card, printed, you know, silk screen printed onto the cassette tape itself, not like inkjet sticker stuff.
Can we call the cassette tape the SSGG mixtape?
I mean, we could legit just
We
make
could.
regular mixtapes with like Memorex tapes and like just write on it in Sharpie.
I love mixtapes. They're the
That'd
best.
be fun.
I made some pretty dope mixtapes back in the day.
I love
This
mixtapes.
mustache tickling the shit out of me.
There is someone, I don't know if it was Chaney or
It's
someone,
a rare problem I've had in my life. Okay, ladies?
I think Chaney mentioned this, but like how many vinyl albums and analog pressings have been made with just pure AI music? And I think that that's still like early enough that you could be one of the trendsetters, like the first, you know, analog mastered all AI produced music album that's now on like this outdated format that didn't exist when it was actually in the peak.
I like
We
it.
might as well make an 8-track.
Or a freaking cylinder, right?
A cylinder.
An Edison tube.
I know that's kind of, we should just put together 2 cans and a string. That's
Just
all.
put a good guy sticker on it. There you go.
Yeah,
There's merch.
There it is.
There's your merch.
for you. There's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
merch for you.
As a phone
your
or an
merch.
e-meter?
Yeah.
Huh?
As a phone or as an e-meter?
I forgot what the question was. I got myself so high and that hit.
You look high.
But that is another thing too that I will say. If at the meetup, I'm gonna have so much weed. I'm gonna get so high after we get off stage.
I feel like we need a series of Tom Hanks related merch, like his major movie characters in situations as stickers or something. I'm not sure yet.
I'm into that too.
Cool.
I'm also into maybe would you fuck your own clone?
Yeah. We need that.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be like, have you answered the questions yet? And then it'll say Secret Society Good Guys.
You could sell a mold making kit so that you could kind of get a feel for what your clone would feel like. You know what I mean? Like the little latex kits that you can like make an impression on.
So you sell a kit.
I don't feel like that
where
would
you
be that great.
you make a mold of your own junk.
Correct.
And then you just see
It's
how
like
you do
would
with
you
your own
bag
junk
own
or what?
practice kit.
We just don't see how
Like,
that
would
be
you stick
exciting.
your own junk in your bung? Would you suck that? Would you? So after you're done making this,
See, that
thing,
might
you
work
gotta
for a
look at that thing
guy.
like, am I gonna suck that thing?
I don't think it would work for a female though.
Is that what you?
I'm just like eating
about?
my cereal out of mine. What? It's my new coffee glass.
Use it to hold a taco.
You're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh,
this is how
it's
you
my
finger bang.
vagina. Look, it's my vagina. Look at, I have coffee in it. I would, if I had penises, I'd hang my hats on them.
I want you to send me a bunch of the little logos that you made, the Secret Society of Good Guy logos, because I'm gonna print some stickers at work.
Mm.
I love it. Start tagging up that fat Oklahoma.
Tag.
Me as well.
Fat Homa. Maybe Oklahoma should try to be good instead of just okay. They need to get their
Okay.
shit together.
Adequate
Mostly
Homa.
good. Okay is perfect.
I don't
You don't
know.
have to
They're
fucking live up to anybody's standards.
the
Shit.
fattest state in the nation.
No, that's Mississippi. We are one of the fattest.
Dog. That just
Although
seems
if you get into cities, I think like San Antonio was the fattest city for the longest time.
I just am like, whoa, man, we're such a fat country. To be the fattest state in the fattest country is quite a feat. Because we
think
got
it's
to be the
Mississippi.
fattest country too.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Oh, we
like,
are.
doggone. There must be. I feel like I don't know. That's another comment for.
Oh,
That's
all the
another
fat people I
combo
know
for
are
an-
getting kind of thin lately. So,
because Ozempic.
oh, I know. That's
That's
I don't
Ozempic
argue with
put the
that.
O in Oklahoma.
They did.
And inflation, ironically.
Ozempic Homa. I know inflation. Ironically. Ironically. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else going on? Do you have anything else to talk about with Supersized or anything this week that we missed?
My adult series is ending in about 48 hours. So if anyone hasn't already grabbed an exclusive copy or backed it, you can go to adultoccult.com.
Is there any supersized genitalia in it?
There actually is. I don't know. We can't show it on this stream, but there's a couple stories in particular. One of them is the Statue of Liberty comes back to life and goes around the country banging all the other national monuments. So there's definitely some supersized genitalia in that one.
Oh, nice.
Right now, and I'm doing this
That is
real
so
I'm all
cool.
about a
quick.
giant vagina.
So if you want to go, you can go to
Or look at that. We're 2 away from 200 backers.
and 38 hours to go. So if anyone out there wants to be the magic 200 and
guaranteed that if you're ever looking for a gift for someone that like would never expect it coming, or like that weird unique thing, like no one else has got this, no one else is making anything like this. This is 100% going to be a unique thing that you won't see again. Like I don't think anyone's ever gonna be writing a comic about John D and Edward Kelly swapping wives, and one's about MK Ultra and Hippie Assassin, where Sirhan gets lured into the Summer of Love, and they MK Ultra mind control him to go and kill RFK. But there's like all kinds of weird psychedelic over the top boobies in it. And yeah, there's over 100 pages here. This is like 5 years of work.
And we know that certain of you like to sit on a moral high ground and act like you're better than that and whatever. But we know some of you out there are just like, don't care. Some of you out there are like jerking off to anime every day and have no problems with it. So let's stop trying to pretend. Like, you can go get comics. It was the same shit you were jerking off to your whole life. So it's fine.
Yeah, did you ever read Conan the Barbarian comics?
I just
oh yeah, man, heavy metal.
They're pretty good.
Tarzan too. Tarzan was pretty sick back
yeah,
in the day.
Tarzan.
Yeah, all of them. All those little costumes. None of them are wearing anything baggy.
Oh, and they were doing stuff. I remember this freaking chick getting impregnated by ant people and freaking becoming the new queen and having their larva come out of her vagina.
As you do.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah.
80s.
So,
it was the 80s.
Yeah, same thing. But we have so much traumatic brain injury. It's all of our traumatic brain injury.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to be so much healthier than our parents' generation. Look at even how I'm playing with my mustache. It's only been on for a show. Like I'm already this guy.
Right?
I'm already this guy.
You're the beard stroker.
Yeah.
You have to train that thing.
We always come, but what we despise. Like
I know.
like all of a sudden,
I'm like, look at all those men
guy
stroking their beards.
Yep, you're all making fun of us until you get one.
Yeah, like let me see. Do you just let me think if I have anything else smart to say.
Feel it, Chaney. It's really good.
I think it's weird when people touch their face constantly. I do my best to not touch my face.
Me
gotta
too, because
stop.
I feel like I break out if I touch my face, so I just don't.
I touch my face too much all the time.
I do too.
Like I'm always leaning on myself. Like I'm always like curled up, like and like. But luckily, I have great skin, so. Just
I feel like
kidding.
it's more of a weird OCD thing than anything else.
Yeah, I probably like to be all crushed up. All right. Well, on Sunday we'll probably be around to hang out. And on Tuesday, you can catch Abby finishing up her trans surfing over on Blue Collar Mystics.
Way to emphasize the trans in that. It's because I'm wearing a mustache, huh?
It's because it's June. It's almost
Okay.
June.
We actually get an extra Hyundai commercial that plays now because she did that.
I know. I was thinking we'd get like 20 more viewers really fast where people are like, oh my God, I just got a notification for you guys. I know if I said at the beginning of this episode that my pronoun was them, they tonight.
You should totally lean in and do a special like trans surfing episode, and it's just got like Dylan Mulvaney on a surfboard, but then you just talk about regular trans surfing.
This is a great idea. You should have what's that girl? Elliot
Page.
Yeah.
Page, right.
Yes.
I feel like I did everything wrong there. What's that girl, Elliot?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about her nipples, and they were really
You just
disturbing.
committed a felony in Canada, by the way.
This is another thing I think is kind of wild, like as wild as like, let me pick a name of a robot dog, like Max, or like something like to be my name if I were a boy. I also think it is just as weird to try to stay really close. Like I'm Ellen, so I'm gonna be Ellenette.
This is the beyond meat of people that have moved away from being meat eaters and the vegetarians. It's like try not eating fake jerky for a moment. Like actually embrace the new thing that you're trying to do. Like let go of the old things tethering you. So yeah, don't call yourself Elliot from Ellen. You're basically being the beyond meat of names.
And this is the other thing I was just thinking about genetically. Like I'm just like 5'8", like mid. So if I was like gonna decide to transition, I would just be a mid-sized dude. I'm a mid-sized lady. But let's say Thomas really was like, I wish I was a girl. I'm in the wrong body. I wish I was a girl. And he wanted to
I can't do the transition.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be such poor Thomas. Like, oh, he never is like, look at that big
That's
bitch.
gonna be rough, dude.
Why is it that like all the trans people that I see are like that though? They're like people who are you're never gonna pull it off, man.
Well, this
never.
is my thing about the Elliot Page is Elliot Page essentially is the opposite. So she is the tiniest, petitest, smallest little female, and she's like, I want to be a boy. And so I'm a real boy too. And so she's like forever Pinocchio.
Yeah, well, she's forever like a 12-year-old boy. Like
12-year-old boy,
be a man, right?
She's the pederast dream, probably.
Oh Jesus.
Oh God.
Weird. This is a weird, wild world we're
So
in right
weird.
now. How did it get? They did not tell us about this part of
What
Back to
did
the
they-
Future
yeah,
2.
Yeah, where was this?
Like I
in
feel
the-
like Back to the Future
in
2
the
was so
dystopian
dead on. None
horror?
of his kids were trans, but then little did I know Michael J. Fox was a woman.
They let us know in the Matrix, right? The Matrix was kind of what kicked some of that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
That's true.
Okay. The Gatrix. Okay, that'll be the name of our episode that we open June with. Welcome to the Gatrix. I can wear this
Gatrix.
mustache again and it'll get real rainbow. But I was thinking I don't have anything rainbow, and maybe you guys don't have anything rainbow. But what I was thinking is we all probably could be a solid color of the rainbow, and then it would just be so gay without each of us individually being gay, but as a
Sequence.
collective,
I like it. Yeah.
we can be gay. Sorry.
I feel like we should be taking the rainbow
Sequence.
back. I don't think it's right that any one group can own the spectrum of light broken up by a prism. That's so wild.
Well, this is what I think, that on right after Gay History Month, we can do just rainbow and doves and rainbows and whatever, and we could do a whole bunch of rainbow things and not talk about anything gay, and talk about how the rainbow isn't gay, and talk about all of the other things that rainbow has been used in. We'll do a whole show on the rainbow symbology. but not, or maybe we can do it during Gay History Month. It could be our
I was a
first.
rainbow girl.
Even that.
Yeah.
Look at Abby's been out for a long time.
No.
She's
They're
been on
making
the
us all
spectrum for a
gay.
long time. I don't know. I've eaten a lot of Girl Scout cookies though.
I think rainbow is a good topic for a show. There's lots of rainbow related stuff we get into.
Oh my gosh, I know. Britney Spears Red just sent me a circular rainbow, like a rainbow seen from skydivers, and it's the shape of the firmament.
Maybe we should do rainbow for June. Is that our
And I
next
mean,
show?
rainbow is like God's promise not to drown everybody again, which is pretty serious. I'm thinking rainbow and the serpent, which is all about like mind control and zombies. There's so many cool rainbow related topics.
All right, look at us ahead of time.
Serpent in the Rainbow. Oh, I love Serpent in the Rainbow.
So next week's episode will be on rainbow, and we'll probably have a guest. I'm just gonna say. There's a couple.
So are you wearing a different color then? I like that idea.
We'll figure out the.
You might not know it yet, but they're going to be like the gayest guest ever.
They're going to be so gay. They don't even know. All you guys watching right now, when our next guest is on, whoever it is, who you make sure you guys all say hi to them with rainbows. Like they won't know, but we're going to find someone extra gay for a rainbow episode.
Do they know they're gay, or are they in the closet?
No, this is just this is inside info. It's a little like Easter egg that we're all gonna pick on them with our chat, and they're not gonna know that we're like, look who we guys got you for our rainbow episode. And it could just be like, it won't be. Can you imagine if Ben Balderson was our guest? Hi, lean in, Ben. Like it actually might be the funniest juxtaposition ever.
Oh my god, that would be great.
Like, because I can't even imagine if Ben has ever had a gay voice. Like, you know how every guy has a gay voice that that shit makes me laugh every time. But I can't even imagine it coming out of Ben. Like, hey, like I don't like.
Oh man, there's a good comment up there. Did you from Riggs?
Have you guys ever?
Oh, that's right. It must be Juan.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, it's low hanging fruit though. I mean, Juan is a low hanging fruit in that.
It must be Juan.
Have you guys ever seen the movie called "Do I Sound Gay"?
Oh no.
No.
Oh my god, this is such an interesting movie. It's like a documentary about a particular guy that I guess like grew up straight through high school, but then once he got into college and like later life, he realizes that he's gay, I guess. But the whole aspect of it was that there was all this footage of him hanging out with his friends, and he always just sounded like a straight dude. And then once he became gay, all of his friends and family are like, you're talking more effeminate, you're using your hands more. And he was starting to think like, is this like culture that's imposing these mannerisms and this way that I'm talking and the accent and the lisp and all of that? Is that all in culture, or is there something that's like actually changing at a deeper level because he's identifying more as like do women just naturally sound more feminine and that's why gay guys start sounding like that? Is it because they're trying to model themselves, or is something actually making them more feminine so that they talk and sound more feminine? And it's what the whole documentary is about. But it's like him documenting the slow progression of sounding like a quote normal straight guy into sounding like an over the top gay guy, like someone that you'd see, you know, like talking on a RuPaul show or something, or like a Bravo wrap up show.
I wish it's almost like was a blessing from God that Layla put herself to bed, because talking about men talking in gay voices is her trigger. where she's like, no, they can talk regular. I just don't understand this like put on, because women don't talk like that. Like it is this like such this weird catty, like the most catty version of, it's almost like how supermodels would talk, like not real women.
It's a caricature. It's like if you were to go to a theme park and the guy's doing the caricature art where like they make, if you got like a little bit of a big nose, like you're just a nose with eyes at that point.
Yeah.
That's almost how it feels like gay guys treat like, you know, I guess like female culture, or just like the stereotype.
Yeah, bigger hair, like everything.
They take it and they like times 10, you know?
And why are they like the worst about keeping secrets and stuff? Like they're the worst gossipers. I don't know. I'm not trying to stereotype.
Why
I
are
just
they?
know.
Why
There
are
are men.
But it's
them?
like women are bad, gay men are worse.
You know what I think about
Mhm.
gossiping anyway, for anyone, and so I imagine it for gay men, it's excessive, is insecurity. It's like if
Yeah.
you're a gossip and talking about people, you have nothing to really add. It's like the lowest level of anything that we can talk about. We're not talking about places. We're not talking about ideas. We're just talking about people. And usually that stems from insecurity because we have nothing in common or I have nothing to add to the conversation. So I imagine if you're a really feminine male, you're not the best woman and you're not the best man. So you're constantly insecure. So all you're going to do is talk shit. Is just a guess.
Well, unless
Yeah.
you're Caitlyn Jenner, and then you are the best woman.
And then
Yeah.
and you're the woman of the year.
Correct.
And you don't
But
even have to change your voice though.
Who could beat her in a decathlon? Who could beat her in a decathlon?
A decathlon?
Yeah. Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner. I watched that documentary though. It's so crazy though, the most masculine male at one time in America. Like that is such a, it's like the scripted story of, but Bruce Jenner would also say, I did all that stuff because he was like running away, like had to prove his masculinity because he was hiding in a female body. I don't know.
Whatever, weirdo.
Whatever, Kardashian.
Whatever.
Bruce, they told us
Plant.
from the beginning of the episode that Bruce was going to keep up with the Kardashians. And that's how the
yeah.
show.
Mm.
And when Chris met Bruce, Chris knew Bruce was already transitioning, but she was just like, it was like, this is going to be gold. Let's build
Right.
up. All right. On the Kardashian note, we love you guys. We will see you very soon. And if you have any great ideas for stuff for the meetup, we do hope you come and chime in. And on the way out, here is a little of Thomas's awesome cartoons. They're my new favorite. So XOXO Gossip Girl.
Project was scrapped after a prototype was run over by a taxi cab. Although, who knows how many surveillance cats are out in the wild right now? How well do you know your cat?
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Constantly explore the view of possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, winners, bigger mistakes, entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Bunnies. Hi. Okay, of course she's starving for the most attention because she's the youngest. Give me attention, please. Now, Sarah, you're very stuck up. And you're too cool for school, I get it. Jesus Christ, be nice. Girls, be nice. No fighting. Be nice. Hi. Are you gonna...
Mommy, I got my pasty. Please, and run to me and let me see. Oh, she's a bunny, y'all. She's a bunny this morning.